Yo, what's popping in the nation? The Las Vegas Raiders finally have a GM, a head coach, and we can start putting a staff together and get ready for this year's draft. Who are some of those names and possibilities? Well, there's been all kinds of names thrown out there for the offensive coordinator list. As you see on the title, a name that I've been thinking of is Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, not Cliff Kingsbury. Also, that would have been nice. But Lane Kiffin, former head coach, we will break all that down and we will drop some other names that you may or may not have heard. All that and more, of course, on none other than Raiders Unleashed. Man, what's good? What's good? What's good? So, Pete Carroll, was it the right move for the Las Vegas Raiders? We know age is the biggest question. We definitely know experience, knowledge of the game, track record all speaks for itself when it comes to Pete Carroll. But, when you're his age, of course, age is going to be one of the top topics. And it's well understood, right? The man is 73, going to be 74 when the season starts, but he is a very, very young 73. We've all seen the videos of the man throwing the football, you know, jumping up and down in the locker room, running, chasing people on the sidelines. The man just doesn't stop, doesn't quit, and, is full of heart. So when you got a guy like that in the building, it's hard not to follow, his enthusiasm, his love for the game, his energy at his age. It just, how can you not buy in, right? From with that much experience, that much knowledge. So, also the biggest thing everybody wants to know is who's he going to bring in, right? Is it going to be a young guy? Is it going to be an old guy? Is it going to be experienced? Is he going to bring in Chip Kelly or, Steve Sarkisian? Again, Lane Kiffin, some guys out of college that have been coaches in the NFL, that have been around, done that he has ties with. But the list can just go on and on and on with Pete Carroll. I mean, who couldn't he pick up the phone and call and say, I want you to be offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator? So, the list of defensive coordinators could be very, very huge also. But offensive coordinators, I have a list. There could be some you've heard of, some you haven't. Most of them I'm sure you have, but, there's a couple names that I'm sure not too many people have heard of. But first off, man, let's start with, I mean, number one, right? Number one, that's probably not number one. Family ties, right? You have Brennan, who is a coach for the Washington Huskies. He is the offensive coordinator. So, yes, he does call plays. Yes, it's at a college level. Big difference than the NFL, right? But he also is the offensive coordinator there. They have a pretty solid offense from what I've seen on film. It's not bad. So, he is pretty decent at calling plays. He doesn't have top of the line players like some of these bigger name college has. Also, his son Nathan Carroll was the passing game coordinator, I do believe, for the Carolina Panthers, which is a team that came in with Andy Dalton and just drug us through the mud. Put up what they put up 34 points against us. So, man, shout out if y'all can hear me. If I'm not talking to myself, thumbs up. Let me know you can see me, you can hear me. I'm just rambling away. I don't see anybody in the chat, so yeah, the man's a passing game coordinator. Um, they put up numbers on us, right? So you have to look at guys like that. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Um, then you also have to look at what the Washington Commanders, have done. But we'll get to that here in a bit. But family ties, right? When you have, as a father, for me, if I had an opportunity to coach a team and I had kids that were involved in coaching, I mean, I'd want to bring them on, especially, one who just got fired as a passing game coordinator. I'd want to work with my kids. So I don't know, how Pete Carroll feels. Some people, it's too much for family, right? To be involved in the building, to be with their family, to be working all the time, especially, some kids don't want to work with their fathers. We all know how that goes. So I don't know how that would work, but those are names that you can definitely um, keep in mind, keep on a list. Who's in the chat? 831 Raider, what's good? What's good, MC? Hear me? Cool, cool, cool. Raiders first, right? That's all it's all about. Raiders. So yeah, I mean, Lawrence, my guy, was good, was good. But you know, as a passing game coordinator, they, like I said, they did come in with Andy Dalton, and then you have to look at the production Bryce Young had towards the end of the season. I mean, they had a chance to beat the Chiefs. They were putting up numbers on teams coming late in the season. So, as a passing game coordinator, obviously you're drawing up passing plays. You're working with the offensive coordinator. You're working with the run game coordinator. Does he call plays? No, but I mean, we do need a passing game coordinator, right? We need quarterback coach. We need a lot of coaches. We don't know who they're going to keep on the staff, who they're not going to keep on the staff. So those are just two names to definitely keep in mind. Father son combo. From what I've seen over there with the Washington Huskies, does a pretty good job with the offensive line and play calling. Mixing up run, mixing up passes. Don't know what kind of quarterback. We'll get to the quarterbacks and who could possibly be that bridge quarterback or be that veteran quarterback to come in. We all know the name that everybody's talking about. I won't drop that right off the bat, but we get to everybody because chat lives matter. My guy Lawrence in the building. John Leon, appreciate you pulling up. Raf in the building. Let me know what y'all thinking, who y'all got in mind. But like I said, family ties would probably be, first on the list. Might not be offensive coordinator, but somewhere on the staff, I would figure these guys would be. Next up is Brian Johnson. I'm gonna start with Brian Johnson, and I'm gonna start with another member that's on the Washington Redskins. Excuse me, Washington Commanders. Sorry, it says Redskins. I'm old, can't help it. It's just a habit. But yeah, that Washington's offensive staff is killing it, and Brian Thomas. Hold up, let me pull this up real quick. Shit, that's not what I wanted to pull up. Which one is it? Brian Thomas. That. All right, so y'all can see that shit. Great. Cool. Um, age 37 years old. We'll go to a little history. He's been a quarterbacks coach in Utah, offensive coordinator, so he has called plays at the college level and the NFL level. We'll get to that. He was also the quarterbacks coach at Mississippi State. He was a quarterbacks coach at Houston. He was the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. In Florida, he was a quarterback coach. In Florida, 2020, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Then he moved to the NFL 2021, 2022, which I do believe, isn't that the year the Philadelphia Eagles made it to the Super Bowl? Somewhere in there. Or was it 2023? I don't know. But, anyways, he was the quarterback coach, also the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023, offensive coordinator. So he has called plays in the NFL. He is currently the assistant head coach for the Washington Commanders and offensive passing game coordinator. So another name to look at. The man is very, very knowledgeable and again has experience with this virtual headset I keep talking about. And now other people are starting to talk about it. I talked about it months ago on what it's meant for Jaden Daniels' game, what it meant for his game at LSU. And he was the one that brought it up to them and said, hey, I did this at LSU Can we bring it here? And it speaks volumes and what it's done for that kid's game. He's one of the best players, quarterbacks in the National Football League as we speak, and he's just going to get better and better. So look for a lot of other teams to start implementing, the virtual reality set, and they run it at 1.7 speed. So it's, a faster speed than the game, and it's basically just mind reps, constantly mind reps, seeing blitzes, seeing what formations they're in, you know, and it helps. Obviously it helps because, like I said, one of his biggest things was holding on to the ball too long, and you know, his QBR when under pressure, and right now his QBR under pressure is the best in the NFL. So, dude, that headset has worked wonders. But this guy is a big part of it. Um, Definitely, he's not an offensive coordinator, so it wouldn't be a lateral move. You can definitely pull him up. Next up on the list is, I don't know why it's taking. Shout out everybody. Hit them likes if you would. If you picking up what I'm putting down, if it's the first time, think about subscribing, tickling that notification button to turn it on to be notified when we drop content. Jaxon Dart. We'll get to that here in a minute. Um, Now, next up is another guy, Anthony Lynn. Some of y'all might know who Anthony Lynn is. Some of y'all might not know who Anthony Lynn is. So for those of you who don't, I'll try to pull this up and we will break it down. Anthony Lynn. Make sure y'all can see this shit. All right. So Anthony Lynn is currently the run game coordinator. Good Lord, for the Washington Commanders. And the reason I'm bringing up people I have on this list as the offensive coordinator possibility, not all of them have ties with Pete Carroll. Some of them are just guys that I think would, fit the system and would be great candidates to be next in line. Most of them, I think all of them except for the first two, Brian Johnson and his sons, Brennan and Noah, don't have NFL head coaching experience. The other guys I have on this list to be offensive coordinator have NFL head coaching experience. And the reason I have them on this list is because they have NFL head coaching experience. We see what the Washington Commanders have done with Dan Quinn coming in as the head coach, revamping that defense. You also have Cliff Kingsbury, who is a former head coach in the NFL, running the offense. Not only do you have them two former head coaches running the offense, you have this man, Anthony Lynn, running the running game, which has been pretty nasty, right? And a lot of those called plays for the quarterback are because of this man, Anthony Lynn. We'll break down, he played in the NFL with the Giants, the Broncos, San Francisco. He was a special teams assistant with the Broncos 2022. He was a running backs coach with the Jacksonville Jaguars 03 to 04. Running backs coach with the Cowboys. Running backs coach with the Browns. Running backs coach with the Jets. Assistant head coach, running back coach with the Jets again. Assistant head coach, running back coach with Buffalo. Interim head coach and offensive coordinator with the Bills. Here's what I like. With the Chargers, he had a winning record, I do believe. Why they fired him, I don't know what happened with the Chargers from 2017 to 2020, but the man was a pretty feud, and he said he wants to get back into coaching. He didn't think he got a fair shake, kind of like Antonio Pierce, a coach that was just fired from our team or from the Raiders team. If you're a Raiders fan, if not, whatever. But so he didn't think he got a fair shake, and he really thinks that he's learned a lot from being with Dan Quinn. He talked very highly of Dan Quinn, talked very highly of Cliff Kingsbury and what he's learned on the offensive side. So this man definitely wants to get back into coaching and he wants another chance. So, could you pull him in? He was the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, so he has called plays in the NFL in 2021. He's been an assistant head coach and a running back coach again. And right now, he's the running game coordinator, running back coach for Washington. So, just another name, on the list. Also, two-time Super Bowl champion. Record not too good, but like I said, he had a pretty decent record when he was. Sorry, trying to get out of here. He had a pretty good record when he was with the Lightning Bugs. So, bringing to me is what I said last year is you have to have, if you can, as many head coaches in the building. And I thought we did that last year. Did they all gel? Did they all work together? Were they compatible? I don't believe so. But if you could find the right continuity and the right group of guys to come in that have all been in those positions and have experience in those positions, I think that's what brings a winning culture. That's what changes the culture. You have to have that head coach, of course, to change the culture. I think Pete Carroll is definitely the guy to do that. Um, the guy is funny. He's not afraid to yell at you. He has crazy energy when it comes to football. He has a crazy passion for this game, or he would not be trying to coach again at 73 years old. Going to be 74 when the season starts. So, we get into these chats because I'm probably way behind in this shit. Billy D, what's good? What's good? Yeah, I'm way behind. Um, what about the Bengals backup quarterback? What the hell is his name? I know who you're talking about. Um, Downing, Browning. What's his name? What's his name? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could definitely go that way. I thought he played damn good when Joe Burrow was hurt, but he also had a couple interceptions. There was a couple reasons why they were praying for Joe Burrow to come back. What about McCarthy as the new OC? I was surprised he wasn't being considered for a head coach. Usually, when you get fired for a head coach, you don't really get hired again for a head coach right away. Most of the time, unless it was something where it wasn't your fault or you're a big time, big name head coach. Most of the time, if you get fired, it's usually another year, sometimes two or three before a guy gets another shot. And, sometimes you have to start at the bottom, which could be a defensive coordinator or linebackers coach or defensive back coach. Or, most guys don't want to take that because they've been head coaches and they have egos, which is why they sit out 2 or 3 years and wait till they're needed, right? Or they go to college. So I don't know why Mike McCarthy didn't get a job. I mean, as a OC, definitely I don't have him on this list because I figured he'd be having a head coaching job by now. But isn't the Saints job still open? I do believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Billy D, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you. Arnie, what's good? Appreciate you. Get to these chat. Arnie says, "What's the prediction of Pete Carroll, OCDC? Who do you want? Who do we actually get?" You gonna put me on the spot like that? Who do I want? You know who I want. The same dude I've always wanted. The same dude that other content creators are starting to talk about. The same name that's been surfacing the last couple weeks, but on this channel it was surfacing months ago. Mike LaFleur, bro. It's Mike LaFleur. If you can pull that man from the Rams, let him call plays. He doesn't call plays over there. We all know the history. Some people break it down, some people don't, but he's been in the Kyle Shanahan tree for 6 years. That's a long time. He was a tight ends coach, a wide receiver coach, the passing game coordinator, the offensive coordinator. He's been all that in the Shanahan tree. Then he goes over to the McVay tree. He was also with Robert Salah with the Jets. He called plays over there. So I like Michael Floor, and it wasn't a name that was surfacing until recently. But you know how I feel about it. You're on this channel a lot. Most of y'all know I talk about that name all the time. It's been months. I thought head coach would be crazy because he doesn't have too much play calling experience other than the Jets. But now that Pete Carroll's the head coach, bro, that would be a perfect successor. If that's the way they're going, 3 years for Pete Carroll. I mean, come on, if you do good the first year, second year, and nobody come and poaches you, and you have a chance to take over that job, I mean, could be, but there's a lot of names. We'll get to some here in a minute. DC, I don't. There's a couple names, but I'm mostly talking offense today. That's what I kind of went over. Space Beast in the building. What's good, my guy? Appreciate you. Never seen you in my lives. I don't think. Maybe once or twice. Yo, Rebel. We got to hear the Redskins review. Man, Skins versus Bills would be a heck of American Super Bowl. You want to hear my Redskins review? I think the Commanders are going to make it. I think, the second game they won, I'm trying to figure out what I was going to say. They had Pickens in the game. I think Jalen Hurts was hurt. Jalen Hurts is hurt in this game. But when the Philadelphia Eagles let Jalen Hurts pass for over 150 yards, they lose. So if he stays with under 150 yards, 135, 140 yards, runs the ball, 40, 60 yards, and lets Saquon do his thing, they win ball games. When they make that man throw the ball too much, they lose ball games. And with him being hurt, I don't think he's going to be too much of a factor. And I don't know how hurt he is, but it didn't look very good in the last game. On the other side, stopping Saquon is, impossible. The man has almost 400 yards, I believe, just in the two games against the Washington Redskins, our Commanders. Sorry, I keep saying Redskins. So yeah, stopping Saquon is going to be very hard. But on the other hand, stopping Jaden Daniels is just as impossible. With that RPO, his read option, the make what is it, McLaren over there at receiver is just nasty work. Brian Thomas Jr. or whatever the hell their running back is, Robinson Jr. has been picking it up. Their tight end is crazy. Like this man has what 6 wins in the fourth quarter. So JD5 is him, bro. He's I don't even know what you can't even put it into words what this kid is doing. Kind of like Brock Bowers. So I think the Commanders with Dan Quinn, with two coaches over there, with three coaches on that staff, with head coaching experience, it's going to be hard for the Eagles, especially with their quarterback not being 100%, having problems with their receivers, A.J. Brown reading books on the sideline. I think Philadelphia has their test cut out for them, but Philadelphia has the best defense in the NFL at every category. So it's gonna be a war, man. It's gonna be one of the best playoff games in a long, long time. I don't know what the weather's gonna be. I don't know if there's gonna be snow. I don't really think it matters. I think JD5 is gonna light it up, and I'm hoping for the Commanders to win. But either way, with the way Saquon's playing, I wouldn't be mad if the Eagles won. I'm a Raiders fan, so it doesn't really matter at this point. On the other hand, I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I hate to say it, but I just I don't know. Something about that man and the way he plays, the puts the team on his back, the way he's settled down this year, hasn't turned the ball over, hasn't tried to be Superman and make the big plays, I think is a big step for him. And I think the Chiefs are in trouble. So I would love more than anything than my Raiders, other than the Raiders being in the Super Bowl. The next best thing for me would be to see the Bills and the Commanders. So I don't know how y'all feel about that, but that's my take on that shit. I think, you know, dude, these guys are crazy good, crazy, crazy good. And I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you can do with Jaden Daniels. Like the way he's been throwing the ball with pressure in his face, he leads the NFL in QBR when you blitz him. How do you beat a quarterback and a team that can run the ball that plays pretty good defense when you can't blitz them? Like you just, if you play man to man or play zone, he's going to run the ball. He's going to pick you apart. Even if you have a spy, he's going to make the first man miss and probably the second man. So for Philadelphia being the best defense in the NFL at every category, it's going to be they still going to have their work cut out for them. And I really want to see what Cliff Kingsbury, what Anthony Lynn, and Brian Johnson and these guys are gonna cook up in this game, bro. It's gonna be wild. Um, did I miss it? Arnie said, "Hey, yeah, okay, what's good?" Many rumors on Carroll's sons, Kevin Norton Jr. and Gus Bradley. Man, I hope not Kevin Norton Jr. I mean, the defense was okay in Seattle, but shit, nah, I don't know. Mark Carbone, what's good? What's good? Sorry, anybody else I haven't got to. Let me get pigs. Hold up, let me pause this shit right here and see who else is in here. All right, I think I got everybody. Cool. Let me catch up on this damn chat. Ryan, we almost hired. What? We almost hired by Spytech a few years back. Has connections with Kingsbury. Did I miss Ryan? Shit. I think Spytech's going to do a damn good job. We don't know how much he was involved in the draft room as an assistant. GM probably don't have much say, but you're the one like Champ Kelly doing most of the scouting, and a lot of these guys. You're on the scout team before you even get in positions like that. Way before that, so I think Spytech does a damn good job. You could just look at Tampa Bay. I mean, the recruiting they did to get Brady in the building to win the Super Bowls they did. He was involved in all that. He was there. Might not have been all him, but he was still there, right? Still in the building. Um, Browning as a bridge quarterback. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Browning. We'll get to quarterbacks here in a minute. Let me catch up to this shit. I'm slow as fuck. Um, I'm not going to read all your shit. What do I think about drafting quarterback Howard out of Ohio State? It depends on what round. It depends on, I don't think he's going to play in the Shrine Bowl. It pretty much comes down to the combine, right? What's his 40 time? How's he look throwing deep balls in the combine? Um, if you're not going to be in the Shrine Bowl or, these senior bowls, you're not going to see much against, top of the line defensive guys, which he pretty much seen that in the division they were in and the teams they played. But um, rumor is Sam Darnold in Vegas right now, maybe vacationing or meeting with the Raiders. I could see him being in Vegas. Everybody goes to Vegas. You're going to get reports and rumors about players being in Vegas constantly, nonstop, because it's a vacation destination, bro. They're not playing. They're not in the end of no games going on. So yeah, you're gonna get that shit. Howard in the fourth, nice. That's what I'm saying. Depends on what round. I did not plan the late quarterback. Draft is cool. All right. Da, 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 da. Rebel LaFleur would be nice. They play guards and have draft skills. Like LaFleur would be nice as hell, bro. He would. I like LaFleur. He doesn't call plays over there. Sean McVay, I know it's a lateral move and people say it can't be done, but Sean McVay is one of those cool ass coaches that has let guys take lateral moves to call plays because they don't call plays in his system. So that's coolest shit in my opinion for that dude. And I think if they hit him up, unless they really, really need him, which they probably do. They started out 1-4. That team had injury after injury. They ended up 10-7, winning their division, and it's not all him, but that's his offense. That's his. He's not calling the plays, but he's helped scheming it up most of it. So, um, draft Carter first, Dart second, Henderson Golden, trade for Metcalf, Spillane, Morig. I mean, I'm down for all that. Michael Flores, OC and assistant. Yeah, Michael Flores would be great. Great, great, great. All right, I'm not gonna get to all these damn chats, so let me stop that. Get to the bottom. Hard pass on retreads like Bella and Bradley. All right, so what are the names I had on this? What I start? Anthony Lynn. Next name would be just for the head coaching value. I know people are gonna trip, but Shane Waldron, right? Unemployed, former head coach. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Space Beast in the chat, so I know he knows. I do believe he was the OC in Seattle, which got him the job he just got fired from with the Chicago Bears. The man is a pretty good OC. He could call plays, and he has that head coaching experience. And, just being fired, what better way than to prove you can be, that guy calling plays and help take a team to the playoffs, learning under a guy like Pete Carroll. I'm not going to break down all his stats, but they are a lot. Um, the next guy, I put Shane Waldron up. Next guy, of course, would be Clint Kubiak. Again, just because of the experience, the head coaching experience, the offensive play calling, the quarterbacks, the systems he's been in. When you have two brilliant minds like that, but the fact that he could be the successor for the head coaching job, I'd have to say no on Clint Kubiak. And probably Shane Waldron also, if that was the case, if they were going to be, the successor or in line to be the successor. But the main one that nobody's probably talking about, and people are going to probably think I was crazy as hell, is Doug Peterson, right? Former quarterback, had his team in the playoffs, damn good offensive coordinator, offensive coach, had struggles with his team lately. But if you come in and you don't have all those pressures of being a head coach, of, trying to get your quarterback that you paid way too much money for, in my opinion, be the next big thing, which is a big, big task, in my opinion, trying to get Trevor Lawrence to be that guy. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. So, if you take all that weight off your shoulders and you're just calling plays under a guy like Pete Carroll, again, I think it could work. But if you're having them, be the next successor, next head coach in line, I don't think Doug Peters or Kubiak or Waldron would be my choice at all. So, the next guy on that list is none other than the title, and I want to know what y'all's thoughts are, is Lane Kiffin. Now, I know you're going to be like, Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was garbage, bro. He was what, 5-14 as the Oakland Raiders head coach. I get all that. I know all that. I know he was fired by the telephone. I know they tried to get him to quit and he wouldn't quit because he wanted his $2 million. I get it. I know the history. I've been a Raider fan my whole life. But the point is, we've had problems like that with other coaches that have been back, that Mark Davis has hired, and the fact that Tom Brady is in the building, the fact that, you know, he was with Pete Carroll and USC. He got his first real gigs with Pete Carroll, right? They brought him in as a tight end coach. Then he was the wide receiver coach. Then he was the passing game coordinator and the wide receiver coach. Then he was passing game coordinator and offensive coordinator. And then he was just offense coordinator. So then he got the job at 31 years old. Now, come on, man. At 31 years old, he was the youngest head coach in the modern era in the NFL. In my, that's way too young. That's kind of like some of these guys that they're hiring, like right now, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, you know, You don't know what these guys are going to be as a head coach, as a leader with all those responsibilities. But at 31, yes, did he fail? Come on. He didn't want Jamarcus Russell. Everybody knows the story. He was, there was a big controversy about him being adamant Jamarcus Russell was not the guy. They had Devontae Culpepper in the building at the end of his prime, way past the end of his prime, and probably the bottom of his prime. Like the Culpepper was not good. I believe they had Josh McCown, who could be another guy for assistant coordinator job at that time, but another story. So yeah, he didn't want number two, which ended up to be number two, straight Dookie, Jamarcus Russell. And that was the guy that Al Davis drafted, stuck him with. He didn't even, sign the contract in till December or some shit. The season was already over. We all know the story of the history of the Raiders. At least you should. If you don't, you know a little bit more. So if I brought you some knowledge, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. What else we got? Let me get back to the chat. 23. Fuck, I just caught up to this shit. What's your position, coaches and the staff? We would keep. I would keep. I would keep Phil Bond because he has that head coaching experience. He's been there, done that. This offensive line kind of knows, towards the end, they look like they gelled to me. They look like they were a much tighter knit group. Um, if you can't find any better, now I don't know who could be better, and I don't know what Pete Carroll's plans are, or if he plans on changing the whole thing, if he's interviewing guys that are already on the staff to see which guys he would keep. But I wouldn't mind Phil Bond being in the building. You definitely got to keep Robbie Leonard. I think a lot of defensive players are going to be pissed off of Robbie, and not just the defensive line, but I think the whole defense and maybe even the whole team. There's players that aren't even on defense that love Robbie Leonard in the building. Robbie Leonard is, a great mind. He's done wonders with the guys we've brought in, like Kaylavon Chasen, like Jonah Lalu. I thought he was just, did amazing. Tyree Wilson is even starting to, take those baby steps to kind of look like maybe he can be something, not where he was drafted. He'll never ever make up to that. But Robbie Leonard, you got to keep in the building if possible. But it all depends. When you bring in a new coach, a new GM, 9 times out of 10, the staff is gone, right? Unless it's somebody that they can't get rid of. And I think Robbie Leonard might be that guy. Just for the fact that there's been teams asking to interview Robbie Leonard, and the Raiders have turned it down. So, with that being said, that would just, let me believe to think that they're not trying to get rid of Robbie Leonard, and they're going to keep him on the staff one way or another. And maybe that's why Pete Carroll got the job and not Ben Johnson. I mean, I don't know. There could be a lot of things that go on with that. New England Booster, appreciate you pulling up. Gotta find out where the hell I was starting this shit at. So yeah, that and Luke Steckel, my main number one. I mean, tied with Robbie Leonard, in my opinion. Luke Steckel has been, you know, with the Mike Vrabel staff, uh, been on that coaching tree. He's been around the NFL, but what he's done with Brock Bowers, with Michael Mayer, the guys that they had to bring in behind them, I thought Luke Steckel's done a damn good job. I don't know why he's never in any names, to advance and move up, maybe take a head offensive coordinator job and get that next step. But, maybe with Pete Carroll in the building, he looks at Steckel and says, damn, you have that resume. Can you call plays? I don't know. We'll see. But I really like Luke Steckel. I think, again, the dude has a brilliant mind when it comes to football and what they've done with these tight ends. The way Brock Bowers has improved his blocking and all that shit. I know it's not all the tight end is probably the offensive line coach, but what he brings to the building, I think you just can't afford to lose guys like that. Rebel, would you be mad if Pete hires his son's offensive coordinator, Ken Norton? I wouldn't be mad if he hires his sons, as offensive coordinator. If he believes that they're ready for it, I would trust Pete Carroll as long as he's been around. The guy, he's never had really any main predecessor, which is everybody's knock, right? Who's come out of his tree to have take that next big step for the head coaching job. You can say Dan Quinn. Some people say Dan Quinn was there. He inherited Dan Quinn. We all know Dan Quinn was there before he got there, but Dan Quinn became a better coach with him there. And you helped build the Legion of Boom. Gus Bradley, Waldron. There's been guys come out of the system. Have they been successful? Maybe not right off the jump. Maybe on their second go around they will be. So there's still a lot of questions. But no, I wouldn't be mad at it if he believes, you know, his sons are the right guys for the job. Then go for it. We're in Vegas, right? We can't be any worse than we were, and just roll the dice. Raider Knight says if Shador or Cam are there at 6, then yes, we should grab him. Yeah, look, I'm not the biggest Shador fan. Everybody knows that. But at this point, with a Pete Carroll, he likes athletic guys. Cam Ward is way more athletic. Shador, I don't know how he's going to fit in the Pete Carroll system, right? If you look at the Pete Carroll guys, they're way more athletic than Shador. And I'm not saying Shador can't run the ball, can't make plays with his legs, but he is not athletic. Like, so I don't know. But if he's there with Brady in the building, I don't see him passing on Shador. I just don't see him passing on Shador. If Cam's there, I don't see him passing on Cam either. But you guys got guys like Jaxon Dart, like Riley Leonard, like Curtis Rourke. These guys are, 6'4", except for Jaxon Dart, he's 6'2", but the other guys are 6'4", 6'5", have good 40 times, can make plays with their legs, have strong arms, and can throw the ball. And you can get not having to move up or risk a number 6 pick when you got guys like Will Johnson that'll be there, Ashton Genty that'll be there, crazy receivers that'll be there, Trey Harris. I mean, is that his name? Trey Harris at Ole Miss. Another guy that a lot of people are overlooking as a wide receiver that I think when the combine comes, he's going to be up there with that uh, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. shit. That dude is a stud. Damn, at Arnie, no way his sons and Kevin Norton Jr. His sons will probably, there's probably a big possibility that his sons can end up on this staff, in my opinion. I don't know why you wouldn't if you're if you're the head coach and you have that opportunity to work with your kids. I'm sure he's going to bring them in. Now, as OC, I don't know. Probably not. Probably quarterback coach, maybe passing game coordinator, offensive line assistant, OC, something. I don't know. Some aspect. I believe they'll probably be in here. But again, I don't know. I don't know the relationship with his kids, so I can't say. Um, I want Daniels to be the first rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl, plus Bills in the what? Oh, plus Bills in the three-peat. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that. I don't know. I think I want to see JD5 make it to the Super Bowl, but I'd hate to see him win it in his first year if Josh Allen gets there, because you know what, Josh Allen's in his 7th year, bro. Like, he's put in his time. You know what I mean? He's played on shitty teams. He's fought. He's struggled. He's made it close. He's lost. The Bills. How many times did they make it to the Super Bowl like, and lose? Um, like, come on. If the Bills make it, I got to root for the Bills. I can't root for JD5 in the Super Bowl. So I hope he makes it and breaks all the records just getting there. And it's a close game, but damn, I'd hate to, you know, and if some crazy way they end up with the Queefs, oh my god, I hope they just destroy that fool. I'll smoke to that. Jalen Carter is a game wrecker. It would be fun to watch. Jalen Carter is a game wrecker, but so is JD5, bro. Jaden Daniels is a freak, and he's damn good at evading the blitz. And I mean, I didn't know I was gonna talk about these two so much, but yeah, with that game, the first game, I believe Philly dominated with Jalen Hurts in the game. The second game, like I said, they had their backup and Pickett, but Pickett he had a pretty damn good game. Like it wasn't a bad game, right? A touchdown, an interception. He threw for what I think almost 200 yards or somewhere in there. So that's more than Jalen Hurts has thrown for in the last what shit all year. I think has he even had a 200-yard game this year? But yeah, Jalen Carter is a game wrecker, and he's gonna be in the backfield. That dude is a monster, bro. We need a guy like that. The game should be a nail biter. Absolutely, absolutely. Unless they, anybody but the Chiefs. Yes, please. The game's definitely gonna should be a nail biter. But how y'all hear the what was it? The Washington Commanders defensive coach that they're gonna smack Jalen Hurts. Like if he's running, if he's out of the pocket, they're hitting that dude like he's a running back. So, that could be something that can turn out to be a very interesting war. And it could become a nasty game, right? Like we know it's a division game. A division game, anytime you have a division game in the playoffs, it's nasty. But to have it in the NFC championship, that's just wild, bro. That's wild. So to me, there's just way more on the line. And I hope the refs are not the reason why somebody wins this game. I hope they let them, just play, not stupid play wise, because otherwise, teams are gonna be holding and getting away with shit. But just let them play. No stupid shit. No dumb roughing the passer or stupid late calls and shit. Oh, I said, would you be mad? Rumors is that's what's happening next week. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be mad. I don't. Yeah, I don't. If you're talking about Norton as the defensive coordinator, I don't know. I hope Pete Carroll goes another route. I think Salah, but they said he was going to the 49ers, right? But from what I hear, unless it's changed, he hasn't actually signed the contract. So I don't know. Maybe he was waiting to see if Pete Carroll got a job in Vegas, but that could have changed. Maybe he did sign the contract. I don't know. FKC is going to beat the what? Oh, going to get beat by the Bills tomorrow. I was like, bro, don't say that. Don't put that out there. I want to see the Bills win, but I know the NFL won't let that happen. Um, Here's the thing: if Josh Allen goes off script, I don't think it matters, bro. And I'm not just saying that because the stupid short or whatever somebody put out about Patrick Mahomes. If y'all ain't seen that, go find it. It's hilarious as shit. But you know, if Josh Allen runs the ball, if Josh Allen becomes the superhero Josh Allen that he's tried to be, and it works, KC's in for a world of trouble, right? Their offense hasn't been playing very well. Um, the Bills defense, on the other hand, has been way more solid than they have in years past. They look like a hungry team. They look like they want this shit. Josh Allen looks like he's, possessed. And the fact that they could beat the Ravens with him not even having to throw the ball 200 yards, and he has two touchdowns with what 140 something yards passing and running the ball for 20 yards or whatever he ran it for is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like I never ever thought that the Bills defense would put the Bills or Josh Allen in that position to win that game without Josh Allen even having to really do anything. So that was scary. And man, if they unleash that dude, It's gonna be wild, bro. It's gonna be wild. So on script, scripted plays, I think the Bills are better than Kansas City's defense. They showed that in the last game, but it is Spagnola. Spags in the NFL playoffs is just wild. He's a just a totally different breed. It's like they turn on a switch when they get in the playoffs, and that defense plays lights out, and the offense just makes plays when they need to. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy for the Bills, and I think it's gonna have to be way more on Josh Allen's shoulders. They can't beat Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, like they beat the Ravens. Maybe if they get them to turn the ball over, an interception and a fumble, then yes, I think they definitely can beat the Bills that way. But I think it's going to have to be a lot more Josh Allen in this game for sure. All the Raiders insiders say different. OCDC is no idea from Red Trades. Pete Carroll, young coaches on the sidelines. Kiffin and Dart, head coach, play callers, and OC. Um, what Lim Kiffin and Dart as head coach? Yeah, Pete Carroll's been known for hiring, young, innovative guys. That's what he likes to do. He likes, you know, those young, up and coming minds. But he also has, hey, let me get to this. He also has a lot of guys on that list, that on his phone on speed dial that he can pick up and call. Lane Kiffin is great offensive mind. Would be stoked to get Kiffin and Dart in the second round. I would be stoked to get Dart in the second round too. Like, I don't think he's fallen any farther than that. And we might, after it's all said and done, he is playing in the Shrine Bowl. So that kid, I don't know how much time they're going to let him play, but when they put him out there, if they let him throw the ball and run the ball, we already know what he can do. If you've been following Jaxon Dart, you have certain content creators that say they were hyping up Jaxon Dart. They were talking about him before anybody. I don't know when they started talking about him, but I know when I really started talking about him was the Arkansas game when he put up 5 touchdowns and almost 600 yards passing and rushing on my Razorbacks. So I don't know what date that was, but if anybody's inclined, look it up because that's when I was like, Jaxon Dart is an NFL quarterback for real. That kid took over the game, just put his team on his back, and we had no answer for him, and neither did any other team they played pretty much all year long. I think the last game of the season they lost because he threw 3 interceptions in the last 2 minutes, but they were taking crazy shots. It was a game that back and forth, wild plays, a bunch of bad calls, some late hits that weren't called, some roughing the passers, and some helmet to helmets. That was a crazy game. So it came down to I don't even remember what game that was. Their last game of the season, but yeah, if it wasn't for those 3 interceptions, he would have 3 less interceptions on his stats. And you know, the kid's dynamic, bro. He's not really the only thing that scares me about Jaxon Dart is he's 6'2", you know, not great size. It's okay. Um, but his 40 time is a 4.7 something, I think, or 4.8, which we'll see if it picks it up in the combine. But high school or college 40 time was not very impressive. What he is Patrick Mahomes style. No, I'm not saying Jaxon Dart is Patrick Mahomes. So, you know, don't be trying to change that shit and be like, Raider Rebel, did you hear what he said? He said Jaxon Dart was Patrick Mahomes. No, I'm not saying Jaxon Dart is Patrick Mahomes. I'm saying what he is crafty like Patrick Mahomes. He's not fast. He's elusive. He's wiggly. He knows when to run. He knows how to run. He knows how to get, guys leaning one way and then go the other way and pick guys apart. So it's that elusiveness, I think, that helps his game. And he does have a strong arm. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to rise in the combine when that shit comes up. But there's another guy that we'll talk about soon, and most of y'all know that that I think is going to be better, has the same arm strength, can read defense just as well. His team just, his coach was a defensive minded. They were defense, 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 run the ball, defense, and only pass if they had to. But if he had a offensive coordinator that let him throw the ball, I think Riley Leonard would be way higher. And I don't know if he said he's going to play in the Shrine Bowl or any of these games, but I think his talent is better in my opinion. Bevel and Waldron are reaches. Gus Bradley, Riverboat Ron on defense. Isn't Riverboat Ron like a re? How many retreads is that? Dude, that's like 8 retreads. How many teams he been on? Like, I don't know. I think Shane Waldron would. The reason I'm saying these offensive coordinators that got fired as defensive coordinators is because they have that experience, and we've seen what it's done for the Commanders. I can't talk enough about the fact that Dan Quinn and Lane Kiffin both, if you listen to their interviews, talk about the fact that their experience together, one on offense, one on defense, and them constantly, going at it, what this scenario, that scenario, is what's helping this team, be the team they are. And I think when you get all that experience into one room, it helps. And I thought it helped us last year with having all that experience. I just thought it wasn't used in the right way, or some people were too stubborn to listen to what people were saying. I don't know what it was. Hard pass on retreads, Bevel and Brady. Jesus. All right, I'm never going to catch up on these. So I'm just going to the bottom. And if I missed your shit, I'm sorry. The Chiefs' offense is easy to figure out when they're going to run and tackle the offensive line. They're going to pass 5 yards. I mean, yeah, it's not hard to figure out the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the fact that you can't stop Mahomes. If you put pressure on him, he's going to get away. You know, if you put pressure on him, he's going to step up in the pocket and find the open man, or he's going to buy himself enough time for the receivers or his favorite target, Travis Kelsey, to get open. They just have too many weapons. During the head coaching interview, typically the staff plan is laid out. Yeah. When do you think we will hear about some staff? I don't know. Like you said, the staff was probably laid out. He probably threw a couple names out there, and I'm sure if he knew he was getting the job a week ago, and maybe that was the delay as he was trying to, get a hold of his staff members. I'm thinking Monday. Maybe, Monday might not be all of them, maybe some guys, but probably Wednesday, Thursday. We usually do press conferences on Fridays and Thursdays, during the off season and during game time. So look for, in my opinion, I'm not saying this is when it's going to happen, so don't take it to the bank, but I was, Thursday or Friday, some kind of announcement saying this is the guys, this is the staff, because like I said, and like you just said, I'm sure this was talked about. I'm sure they were talked about quarterback ideas. If they're bringing in a Russell Wilson, we'll get to that. If it's going to be a Sam Darnold, which way they're going to go, if they're going to draft somebody, if they're going to go a bridge. All those were worked out, I'm sure, in the negotiations and the contract meetings and in the interview, right? You're not going to go into an interview and be like, okay, well, if I take this job, I can put together a staff. I mean, I'm sure he had plenty of names he threw out there, which is probably why they were like, okay, let's go with this. So it's so hard to say with Pete Carroll, but here, let's do this. Names that could possibly be, like I already said, Anthony Lynn, Shane Waldron, uh, Steve Sarkisian. Now, Steve Sarkisian, I believe, is right, the Texas head coach. Can you get him to leave a job with what he's getting paid in Texas to come be a OC in Vegas? I don't know. But he worked with Pete Carroll and Lane Kiffin in USC. They ran the offense together, Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian. There's another name you could throw into the mix. It does, we don't know what pull Pete Carroll has, but we can tell by Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson interviews, if you've seen any of these interviews lately, how they feel about this man as a person, as a friend, and as a head coach, right? So if they feel about this dude like that, I'm sure a lot of these coaches and players that have been with this man feel the same way in a heartbeat would jump on the chance to coach with them again, especially like a Steve Sarkisian. If you know, hey, damn, I could be next in line if it does, if it doesn't work out, or even if it does work out and he gets his 3 years and decides, I don't want to do it no more, but this guy's next in line, which for me, I think that's the only way to go at this point, right? You fired your GM, you fired Antonio Pierce. You have to bring in somebody with stability. And if you look at Pete Carroll's age, you're thinking that's not stability, right? That's not a long term situation. That's why you have a successor, right? That's why you have guys that have been head coaches before or that are possibly due for a head coaching job on the roster that can be groomed. If you bring in an OC, I can tell you right now that comes in and has the uh same year with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers and bring in a running game. And no matter who the quarterback is, have a solid, decent year with the team, with the way this team went last year, you're going to be turning heads, right? And guys are going to be looking. And if you do it 2 years in a row, your phone's going to be blowing up. They're going to be like, all right, how did this dude come in and take over this Raiders offense and turn this shit around, right? One could be they went and got a quarterback, which would definitely help. But you could also go Chip Kelly, right? Chip Kelly got those ties. He was in Ohio State. Um, he runs a damn good offense, got ties in the NFL. We talked about Clint Kubiak. We talked about Doug Peterson. There's been names Shannon Dawson, right? If y'all know Shannon Dawson, he's the offensive coordinator slash uh, quarterback coach in Miami, I do believe, right now. There's been names talked about that. He was with Pete Carroll, I do believe, in Seattle as a passing game coordinator, assistant. I don't know the exact title. Shoot me. Um, Jake Peets, probably a name that a lot of y'all maybe not know or probably never heard of, but it is Jake Peets, Peetz. I didn't put it in my shit, so I can't pull it up in case y'all don't heard of him and want to go check it out, because I don't know everything about the man, but I do know he is the passing game coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks as we speak. And I do believe he was brought up through Carroll's system and has ties with him. Another name is another head coach, Bobby Slowick, who was just also released as the offensive coordinator position for the Houston Texans, who did one hell of a job with a quarterback named CJ Stroud. Why this man got fired is a mystery to me. I have no idea. Some say CJ Stroud progressed and the offense or digressed and the offense digressed, under him. I don't know if you can blame it all on Bobby Slowick, bro. I just don't know how you can fire a guy or let a guy go that comes in with a rookie quarterback, not many weapons on the offense, and takes you to the playoffs in the first year and in the second year, you know. And I thought they should have won that Kansas City game. It looked like they were just too hyped up to me. They were, overblown when you got guys pushing your head coach on the sideline and shit like that because he thought he made a play. Then I don't know, but yeah. So that's another guy you could look at. Has plenty of experience, runs a pretty good system. We talked about Brennan and Nathan, Derek Bevel. I've seen in the comments y'all talked about that. He's the OC and the quarterback coach as the Dolphins, which I thought Shane Dawson was the OC. Maybe he's passing game coordinator. Maybe I wrote that wrong. Um, Nick Caley is the tight end coach and the passing game coordinator for the Rams. And I talked about Mike LaFleur over and over again. And we all know how I think about Mike LaFleur. But another guy is Nick Caley, is again Just look what he's done with the tight ends over there with the Rams. He's also a passing game coordinator. He's 42 years old. Could be another guy, young, up and coming guy that can use deserve that shot. Um, Josh Grizzard is the passing game coordinator also for the Dolphins. Has ties. A lot of people are not saying this name. Probably T. Martin. Y'all know T. Martin? Let me know in the chat. T. Martin was a quarterback in the NFL. I believe he was a quarterback in Tennessee. I don't know, long time ago. Anyways, he's the quarterback coach for the Ravens. He's been around that Munkin system. Could be another name to watch out for. I don't have all his accolades and attributes and shit up here right now, but just a name to throw out there that could be another guy. Alex Van Pelt is another guy been around. I think he's another Patriot way guy, but been over. Um, Joe Blymeer is the passing game coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their their passing game hasn't been great this year, so I don't know if that's to him, but you have to look at that. Uh, uh, what the hell is the receiver they drafted? Anyways, the speedy receiver they drafted over there that a lot of people said couldn't catch and shouldn't have been drafted. Whatever they drafted him at 30 or whatever they moved up to get him. Um, the dude is lightning quick, and it seems he does have hands. So all of a sudden, the dude could catch. Now, I don't know if that's a tribute to any of these guys, but we talked about Brian Johnson. Also, another guy is Kevin Patulu. I don't know how to say his shit, but he is the passing game coordinator for the Eagles. Also been in a lot of other positions, but when you look at the Eagles offense right now, bro, it ain't been all that. Audrey Pleasant, Rams assistant quarterback coach, is a great coach in waiting. He is also the DB coach for McVay for 4 years. All right. What is his name? Aubrey President. You know me, bro. I'm all about trying to learn about anybody, especially if you're gonna come coach a team that I love. I want to know everything about that shit, right? And you know, if y'all don't watch him, shout out to Raider Honcho, dude, man. My favorite content creator in all of YouTube, dude is absolutely hilarious. But I don't even know why the hell I just brought up his name. I just fucking forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, because he was saying he don't know how all these dudes on X know everybody. He's like, you drop a name and they know everybody about like who the dude's grandma is, his sister, who he married to. Like, but really, all you gotta do is research, bro. It's Google. You just type in their name, Google, and it gives you Wikipedia and it tells you every person they work for, every system, and then you can click on those and find out more and more. Man, it's called research. So, like, I don't know, like, how you don't know how you know everything, but I like to know everything if I can. If I ain't got shit to do, bro, where the hell did that name go? I lost it. Oh, all right. I'll be pleasant. Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on that, do a little research, check it out. So yeah, I mean, there's so many names that can be out there, and again, it's Pete Carroll. Like we have no idea, man. He can go with the Lane Kiffin. The ties with Lane Kiffin don't go back to just USC. Lane Kiffin's father helped Pete Carroll get his start in football. So as a defensive back coach, I do believe. So, those shit goes farther back than most of us have been alive. And if Lane Kiffin was wanting to get back into the NFL, then shit, I think if anybody was willing to help him, take that route or give him that shot, it would be Pete Carroll. But on the other hand, Lane Kiffin, like I said, we know all the shit that went on with the Raiders organization. No matter how much he likes Pete Carroll, no matter how much he looks up to Pete Carroll, what the hell is tickling my nose? Will he ever come back to this Raiders organization after what Al Davis did to him? Probably not. It was just a thought, just a theory. It was just a title, so don't trip out. Don't be like clickbait, blah blah blah. It was just a thing, name to throw out there. But however, that's one of those names that I thought the guy didn't get a fair shake when he was a young NFL head coach, and the man has grown. Right, he was a head coach at 31 years old. He is now 49, the same age as me. Not only was he in the Pete Carroll system for all those years, but he also went to the Raiders. Then he went to Tennessee. Then he was also the USC head coach for a couple years. And then he also was under Nick Saban, the greatest, in my opinion, which I can't stand Alabama because I'm a Razorback fan and they beat us all the damn time. And I hate Nick Saban. However, Nick Saban is probably the greatest college football coach of all time. I mean, the championships, the records in Alabama speak for themselves. Lane Kiffin went over there 1 year or maybe 2 years, won a championship there, I believe, with Jalen Hurts. As a matter of fact, we were talking about the Eagles game. I think it was Jalen Hurts as a freshman, one of the only freshmen, I think the only freshman to start for a Nick Saban system that was part of Lane Kiffin and his offense. So, Lane Kiffin has grown, bro. He was young. He deserves another shot. Does he want that shot? I don't know. This is just my opinion and an observation. But if he does want that shot, would you be willing to give him that shot? Let me know in the comments below. Um, I would. I would be like, man, what do we got to lose, right? We're in Vegas, roll the dice, bring him in for a year. If the offense, blows up and shit, we have a run game and we actually have an offense and we're not, 30th in every category, then you might want to keep him around for another year, right? And see how that goes. Um, but the other thing is, he is under contract. He does have a $4 million buyout, which $4 million ain't shit for Mark Davis, are the owners of the Las Vegas Raiders, the five of them now, I do believe. So that's not really a problem. The problem is, does he want that chance? Does he want to be in the NFL? Or does he want to stay, in college where, hold up, I think I have Lane Kiffin shit on here. Oh, I do. Matter of fact. All right, let's pull up Lane Kiffin shit. I think I pulled it up once, but so Lane Kiffin overall record in college 105 victories to only 52 losses. Bro, that's a crazy, crazy, crazy winning percentage, right? A little over 500. But when it comes to the NFL, I was wrong. He's not 5-14. He's 5-15. Not very good numbers. But again, my opinion was not given very good shot. Um, in the NFL, there's something else I wanted to pull up. Oh, I talked about his ties with Steve Sarkisian. Um, oh yeah, so their offense, right? Let's break down some of the offense with Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian, because he's not being a head coach, right? If we bring him in, he would be an offensive coordinator. And Lane Kiffin is a damn good offensive coordinator. Or Nick Saban would have never brought him to Alabama. Um, so in 2005, their offense produced numerous school records, averaging 49.1 points. Let me repeat that. 40 flipping 9.1 points a game and 579 yards per game becoming the first NCAA team in history to have a 3,000-yard passer in Matt Leinart with a 1,000-yard rusher in Reggie Bush and Lindale White and a 1,000-yard receiver in Dwayne Jarrett and Steve Smith, who only fell like 6 yards short of having a 1,000-yard receiver all in 1 year. So when it comes to offense, bro, go back and watch tapes of USC. Go watch Lane Kiffin and Jaxon Dart in some of these games. Go watch the Arkansas Razorback game. I hate to see my Razorbacks get just absolutely murdered like that, and I wouldn't tell y'all to watch it. But dude played one hell of a game, man. The kid was just on fire, had one of those games, and the pretty much like he did against Duke, So it everybody said nobody talked about Jaxon Dart till the Duke game. Bullshit. I was talking about him way before the Duke game, but the Duke game, the Duke game was just on national television and more people got to see it than you do when, it's on SEC network or ESPN. So he had a bunch of games like that. He played well against Georgia. They beat some tough SEC teams and they played some hard ass teams that they probably shouldn't have beat. So shout out to that man. Jaxon Dart is a dog. Do you start right away if you take a Jaxon Dart? No, because Tom Brady even said he believes in a quarterback sitting for minimum a year, learning the system, learning the speed, carrying the playbook, calling the plays. So you're learning the plays, right? Um, that's why I don't believe we draft a quarterback in the first round. And people are going to be pissed because everybody says we need a quarterback, we need a quarterback, we have to have a quarterback. Yes, but it doesn't have to be in the first round. And if we draft a quarterback in the first round, in a Cam Ward or a Shador Sanders, and they sit for a year, the nation is going to be at Brady's throat, and they're going to have that dude's neck. They're going to be trying to hang him in the middle of Vegas on the strip, you know, from the stratosphere. So, yeah, that's why I don't see us moving up. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but it would be wild for us to take a quarterback in the first round at that, for that very reason. Unless, man, if Tom Brady thinks Shador is that guy, Shador is going to be the guy, right? He has all to say. And nobody's going to change his mind. Nobody's going to change his mind. But I think there are other guys at better value, and we have just too many holes. You can't fill all the holes. If you take a quarterback in the first round, you're going to have to build around him. And if you don't have the team already in place, I don't think you should draft a quarterback in the first round. We have absolutely no running game. No running game. We have the worst running game in the history of the NFL. Like that shit is wild. Nobody's had a worse running game that I could ever think of in the NFL. So with no running game, questions at the offensive line, 27 free agents. Do you really draft a quarterback in the first round? Is that really something you do? I mean, I know it's something we need, but you know how quarterbacks get ruined in the NFL? You draft them in the first round with no weapons. I mean, yes, you have Brock Bowers, but come on. If you don't have a defense to keep your offense on the field, you're going to ruin this kid, right? You're going to destroy this kid no matter how tough he is, no matter how much everybody says his confidence is. I mean, Aiden's got the same confidence. You're going to ruin that kid too. Kubiak, Slowick, young hires we can't. If we can't get LaFleur, yeah, I'm down with that. Dart is a gamer. Yeah, he's definitely a gamer. Yep, his 40 time might not be fast, but he's same. He has the wiggle. He knows to lower his shoulders, and when he needs to, you know, he does. And for that is why I like Riley Leonard, bro. I'm telling you, Riley Leonard for Notre Dame, and everybody says I'm crazy. All the content creators that I do lives with, or I pull up on their lives, or I follow. They all tell me, bro, I like most of your takes, but the Riley Leonard one is way off. And I'm gonna stand on my shit because that's who I am. And if y'all follow me, you know that shit. I stand on my shit. I stand on business. If I think somebody's gonna be the shit, I'm not flip flopping. I'm not changing my mind because you don't like it, and there's nothing you're gonna tell me to change my mind until they change my mind by shitting the bed or totally being a bust. So until that happens, Riley fucking Leonard, dude, I'm telling you, at 6'4", a 4.5 40, just look what that kid did in Notre Dame. He didn't get to pass the ball. He was mainly a run quarterback, in a run system. They were defense first, run the ball. Their defense was absolutely insane, and it won their games. They had I think they led the college football in turnovers, and that's how they won games. He didn't need to pass the ball. The same way Aiden O'Connell didn't need to pass the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs when we beat them on Christmas Day last year, right? We had a running game. We had a lead. There's no reason to throw the ball and be stupid. So that's how Marcus Freeman runs his offense in Notre Dame. You don't need your quarterback to make plays when you have a lead, when you have a defense, when you have a run game. So I believe Riley Leonard didn't get to showcase his skills. But if you go back and watch his tape at Duke, he passed the ball a lot more. And if you look at the last game, when they finally got behind and they couldn't run the ball no more, because if they ran the ball, they were definitely just calling it and the game was over, right? They put the game on Riley Leonard's shoulders. He brought them back. He drove him down the field 3 fucking times. And one time they kicked the field goal and missed instead of going for it when the kid was just running the ball 8 yards a carry every time he carried the ball as a quarterback. You know who does that shit? Josh Allen. Josh Allen, yes, Wyoming quarterback who wasn't good, who was drafted 7th overall, and everybody said, "Oh my God, they took Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. They moved up to 7 to take who from Wyoming? Who is this kid? You know who this kid is? This kid is Josh Allen, who has the Buffalo Bills for what, the second or third time since he's been in the NFL in the AFC Championship game. That Josh Allen, that is Riley Leonard. He has that heart. He has that character. You see him jumping over people, doing flips, landing on his head, doing everything it takes to get 1 or 2 yards. That kid has a heart of a lion. And like I said, at 6'4", runs a 4.5 40, which I believe is faster than Josh Allen. He has that wiggle. He's athletic as hell. And he has a pretty good solid arm. He can read defenses. He can throw guys open. As we've seen, he tried to come back against Ohio State. Riley Leonard, when they let him throw the ball, who everybody says is not a passing quarterback, had more points and more yards against Ohio State's defense than any quarterback, I do believe, this year. More than Dylan Gabriel, who everybody was saying, oh, they were undefeated. He should be in the first round too. Dylan Gabriel. No. Riley Leonard, dude. I'm telling you. Riley Leonard. Watch out for that name. Watch out in the combine. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to be in um, any of these games, Shrine Bowls or anything. But that kid, bro, when he talks, go read his letter to Notre Dame, talking about why he's there, how much is meant to him being there. The kid is a leader of men, bro, and that's what you want as a quarterback, right? You don't want a guy who's flashing his watch, who's flashing his car, who's on the internet talking shit all the time, who's constantly in the media, being a cancer in the locker room. And I'm not naming any names. I'm just saying that's not shit you want, right? You don't want guys reading books on the bench during games. You don't want shit like that. You want guys that are focused, that are dedicated to winning football games. And that's what you want as a quarterback. And if you go back and look at Joe Montana, if you go back and look at, I can't even think right now, Steve Young, Troy Aikman, any of these quarterbacks, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Randall Cunningham, I mean, dude, they all had one thing in common. They wanted to win. That's all they cared about were winning. They were dedicated to getting better. They loved the pressure of having the team on their shoulders, for them having to be that guy. That's Riley Leonard. That's Riley Leonard in a nutshell. That kid wants to get better. And Josh Allen was that dude at 6'5", that was a mobile quarterback that ran all over people in Wyoming, that people said didn't have a strong arm, couldn't read defenses, made stupid plays, was a dumb pick at number 7. Look what he's doing in the NFL. Look how many times he's taken a Bills team that's had a shit defense, no running game, to the playoffs. That's Josh Allen, bro. That's a dude that carries a team on his back. That's what Riley Leonard brings, more than Jaxon Dart, more than any of those guys. He has more heart. I'm telling you, that dude has more heart and character than anybody in this draft, in my opinion, just my opinion. And that's why I believe Riley Leonard should be that dude, bro. He's going to probably be, third, maybe even fourth round. He could even be fifth round, because people will be like, oh, we don't need quarterbacks in this draft. It's a defensive line, defensive end, and running back, receiver stacked draft. We don't need those guys. So I'm telling you, watch out for this kid, bro. He's one of those dudes that people are gonna be like, holy shit. Holy shit. He is a football player. He is a quarterback. He can be that dude because he's the leader of men, and that's what it takes in the NFL. Athleticism, he's got it. Check. Leader of men, check. Character, check. Heart, check. He checks all the boxes. Athleticism, strong arm, got it all. And what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Um, Ryan Dinwiddie was the leading coach. I was. Oh, you got two words, Randy. I'm like, what the fuck is that word? I thought I couldn't read for a minute. My bad. Was the coach I was mentioning before. He's won 2 chips in the last 3 years in the CFL. Should at least get interview him. I said the Bucks tried to hire him a few years back. What's his name? Ryan Dinwiddie. Oh yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay. See, that's the only thing is, I think, with the Pete Carroll and the ties he has, is I don't know if it's going to be much of an interview process, right? I think Pete Carroll. I don't think I know for a fact Pete Carroll knows who he wants. He knows what he wants. He knows what type of offensive coordinator he wants. He knows what quarterback coach, offensive line. Pete Carroll knows what he wants to make his system and his team work. And I think he just has to have those guys agree. So, if the guys he has in mind agree to it, I don't think there's going to be much of an interview process. But however, if those guys, have something else going on, or he can't, pry them away from what they got going on, or maybe they just don't want to be a part of it, or then maybe there might be some interviews. I just don't see anybody turning this dude down, or this opportunity. So, I think it's just a matter of time. I think they pretty much, I keep saying, I think, I know that he has his list, and he's probably already gone through it, probably already talked to everybody. And, they're just waiting for maybe Tom Brady to get in there, because he's got a game Sunday. So, he's probably been busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe they just have to run everything by, sit and go over, is this guy cool? They also have, like, Ted Hughes in the building. I don't know if he's going to be a part of any of that evaluation. So, yeah, look for sometime next week is what I'm thinking. Who is the most important position coach for Pete Carroll? That's a damn good question, Arnie. If we draft a quarterback, it's it's gonna have to be, I would say, quarterback and offensive coordinator. If we don't draft a quarterback, at this point, run game. I mean, if we don't draft a quarterback and we bring in a Russell Wilson, we'll get to that here in a bit. Or a Sam Darnold, or one of these guys like a Justin Fields or somewhere. If we go that route, some people have said Zach Wilson. Oh my God. Um, with Zach Wilson's not bad, dude. I don't know. So it just depends on who the quarterback is. If it's gonna be a Russell Wilson, I don't think a quarterback coach is gonna be, all that a necessity. You know what I mean? I don't think offensive coordinator is gonna be all that of a necessity. I think it's gonna lean more on the offensive line coach and the running game. If we draft a quarterback, then it's definitely offensive line, because you got to protect your young quarterback and quarterback coach. The quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, run game, all those involved in making that quarterback feel not overwhelmed, feel comfortable in the pocket and with the players around him. That's a huge task for somebody to come in. And so offensive coordinator, basically all those positions, if they draft somebody. If they don't draft somebody, like I said, running back, because running back room is just terrible. We know how it went with Dylan Labe. You- We know what the roster looks like. We know who's free agents. We don't know who's coming back. And if you look at it, really, can you see bringing anybody back? I mean, Dylan Labe, you kind of have to, because he's on that rookie contract, and give him a chance to make the team. If he doesn't make the 53-man roster, then adios. But running back room it's bad, bro. Why would Seattle let Pete Carroll go? There could be many reasons why you would let Pete Carroll go, but I think the main one was age. I keep saying I think. I don't know why I keep saying I think. What the fuck's going on today? Um, I believe. Let me try this again. I believe number one was age. You have to look at his age, and then you also have to look at the guys in the organization, the players in the organization. Maybe some upper management thought the game was passing him by, which I can't see that with as energetic as he is, the energy he has on the sideline, as much as he cares about football. Um, he was there 15 years, right? That's a long time, and people are starting to make talk and whisper and have chatter about one of the greatest coaches possibly of all time, and Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. It's not because he's a bad coach. It's not because he's not a leader of men. It's because he's been in the same organization with a lot of the same people for 17 years. And sometimes people just need a change of scenery, right? You get stuck in a rut. You get stuck in the same old. And I don't know what you do for a living, but if you work in a factory, or you work at a job where it's the same thing every day and it never changes, then it's hard to do that shit for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years. You start to get burnt out, especially when you're in a Pete Carroll situation and you're running an organization. You're not only the football coach, the head football coach that has to do all the duties of a head football coach, but you're also pretty much the GM, the the scout team. Like, dude, Pete Carroll was running all the operations in Seattle, and that eventually has got to take a toll on somebody. So he didn't want to relinquish those rights. He wanted to be head coach and still have personnel control. And I think they just came to an agreement, was like, man, we'll bring in a new head coach. You continue to run, help out with the operations. They never really let him go, right? He was still there. He was still in the building. So I think it was just that time. I don't think it had nothing to do, with his coaching skills. Let me ask you this. How has Seattle done since they let him go? Like, are they any better? Because when Pete Carroll was there, they were making the playoffs. So sometimes people make wrong decisions, is why I'm asking. Sometimes people think the problem is you and it's not you. You know what I mean? Sometimes people want to take the blame and be like, okay, well, you're running everything. This shit's not working. Let's put it all on this guy. And you seen once you got Pete Carroll out of the way, it didn't get better, right? Metcalf digressed, the whole team digressed, right? Their running game, like, everything. So, in my opinion, their defense got way softer with Pete Carroll not in the building. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but that's my opinion. I think it was just, one of those things where shit, same way. Why do marriages end, right? It's not people don't love anymore. Sometimes they just get burned out, the same shit every day for 15 years. You're like, bro, I can't take it no more. I need to change the scenery. I need, try something new. Could be a lot of things. Um, Pete Carroll has several years at the end was terrible. I mean, yeah, but so was Belichick, right? So was fuck, I can't even think. You, a lot of coaches. I mean, a lot of coaches. Look at Andy Reid and how good he did in Philadelphia, and then why did Philadelphia fire Andy Reid? Let me ask you that, right? Why did Philadelphia let Andy Reid go? They were making it to the playoffs. Didn't they, make it to a Super Bowl with Andy Reid, I do believe. Like, so they let Andy Reid go to the Chiefs and he became one of the, best coaches in football. He was already up there, but now he's building the dynasties. So sometimes it's just that time. Like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles probably thought it was the best thing to do was to move on from Andy Reid. And how did that turn out for them? It didn't turn out very good. Probably the biggest decision, worst decision they've ever made in franchise history. If you look at how many Super Bowls he's won since he left there, right? Um, Pete's defense struggled in the end. His offense did not innovate, was losing conference games, and players were acting out. Yeah, that's true. Players were acting out, but was it his fault the players were acting out, or was it just the character of the players? You have to ask that question. And also, he was losing offensive coordinators to coaching jobs. He was losing defensive guys to coaching jobs. You're constantly have a revolving staff and you have to bring in guys. Sometimes you make the wrong decisions and you bring in the wrong offensive coordinator or you promote, which Pete Carroll is a big guy with, is big when it comes to promoting within and, keeping shit in house. So that could be another thing, which is why I believe we need a young offensive coordinator and a young defensive coordinator, not too young, but young that he has ties with, right? That he knows that can talk to him and be like, okay, I know this is the way you want to go, but just give me a chance, let me try it my way, or you know, talk him out of bad calls or making stupid calls. It depends. I'd like to see him, have somebody in the building that he trusts, that he will listen to, if it does come down to that, because we don't know. Maybe it was all Pete Carroll. I'm not saying it wasn't Pete Carroll. It could have been, his mind going. It could have been dementia. Like he could be, forgetting shit that we people don't know about around him that he's hiding. There could be a lot of reasons they let him go. Check out Carroll's last draft in 2003 with the Seahawks. First four picks equal starters. See, Boko Sports, my guy says, check out Carroll's last draft in 2023. And four picks equal starters. I mean, I don't know. You tell me why they let the man go, because that sounds wild to me. You get four fucking picks and they're all starters, and And one thing we could say about Pete Carroll that we can't say, um, why'd I forget his name already? Oh, that we can't. Good thing that shit. Whew, Tom Telesco's gone. It went right out of my brain. I couldn't even think of his name. Um, you know, everybody said Tom Telesco. Tom Telesco had a great draft. Tom Telesco did this. We got 3 starters out of the first 3 picks. But with Tom Telesco, he's not the head coach. He's not the offensive coordinator. He's not the O line coach, which, from what I believe and what I've been told, Joe Philbon had a big part in drafting JPJ and DJ Glaze. It wasn't Antonio Pierce or the man Tom Telesco like we believe. So, um, but with Pete Carroll, he was that guy, right? He was the head coach. He was, head of personnel's operations, all that shit. He was running all that shit. So if he wanted a guy to be drafted, he was getting drafted, right? As a head coach, you're not, which that's kind of be going to be a different scenario this time, and we'll have to see how that plays out because he's not going to have the say that he had over there. He's going to have Spytek and Brady above him, and hopefully they can all agree on the right guy. Which that's going to be another thing is 4 picks equals 4 starters in 2023 draft. Is he going to have that much say, or is there going to be guys questioning his ability to draft or the picks that he wants? See y'all in 3 years. More trash coaches and slop picks are coming. Same old with this bum team. And my guy John B obviously is not happy with the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Pete Carroll. So Johnny B, tell me what's your solution? What would you do? What would you do? Who would you have got? Um, Pete is known to draft well. The Seahawks 2.0 on the drafts 22 and 23. Yeah, Pete Carroll's a drafting freak, bro. He's a damn good judge of character and talent. Character. Do you see the first part I said? Character, because not all the guys that he drafted, like Richard Sherman, Russell Wilson, Cam Chancellor, not all these guys were just great freak of nature athletes that everybody wanted, right? They had character, they had heart, they had shit that people didn't see. And I think if anybody's a good judge of, a value of a person, which is, sometimes not only their heart is their kindness, you know, respect, fucking how they're raised, all that shit matters. And I think Pete Carroll's done a damn good job over the years of, getting pretty respectable, damn good, character in the building, great minds, guys that are willing to learn, that learn fast, that are team players, that buy into the system. Then he got fired. That's cold. Yeah, that's cold, man. Appreciate you pulling up, my guy. Expect the same from the Raiders. 2 seasons, they will draft the roster and then fire him. Well, he's got 3, and the lifespan of the Raiders, yes, is 1.5 years as a head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. They're giving him 3 years. Antonio Pierce had 2. We all know as football fans, and mainly as Raider fans, contracts don't mean shit when it comes to head coaches or anybody else in the Raiders organization. We could care less what your contract says. Mark Davis just loves to pay guys to sit at home and watch football on TV and try to get other jobs elsewhere. But yes, he's absolutely going to build this team in the draft. And I think with Spytek and Brady in the building, look for us to have another huge draft. We have 10 picks in this draft, and it could be more by the time some of our coaches get taken to other teams, which is crazy. Raiders Honcho is the truth. Always gets confused with Hondo Carpenter and different insiders. Yeah, the Raider Honcho is the GOAT, bro. Straight up.
I try to get him on my show, but you know, motherfuckers, they don't fuck with dudes like me. Uh, would you rather have Derek Carr or AOC? Man, why you want to put me in that spot, bro? Why you want to put me in that spot? I can't answer that. I don't know. Just Raider baby, what's good? Appreciate you pulling up. Salute to you. Salute to you. At this point, Aiden O'Connell, bro. Just because he's younger, he has a ceiling. But I would love to have Derek Carr behind him. Pause if necessary. That didn't sound right. I would love to have Derek Carr mentoring him. That sounds better. Rebel facts. Raider history. Our first round: Mark Wilson, Todd Marinovich, Marcus Russell. uh, Second round: Stabler, Carr, Plunkett, Gannon. Bro, we draft quarterback shitty. I know we draft shorter quarterback shitty, and that's why the title was "Could Lane Kiffin come in with a different number two?" Right? Jaxon Dart could be that guy, and I think he would be a way better prospect than Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell wasn't a bad quarterback. The dude did crazy shit at LSU. He he smashed records at LSU. He was unstoppable. But the problem was he was a grown man playing against, a bunch of men trying to grow. And when he got to the NFL, he was a grown man playing with grown ass men. That shit didn't go well. Rebel, I'm with you on Riley Leonard. Will Howard is a dog horse. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think Will Howard will probably get drafted before Riley Leonard, which is fucked up in my opinion. Excuse my language. I mean, maybe not. I think Will Howard did take his team to the championship. But so did Riley Leonard. Will Howard, they won. He had a way better passing game, but he had you know Chip Kelly calling plays, bro. Who's an air raid offense. He likes to throw the ball down the field. Then you got Marcus Freeman, and I don't even know who the offensive coordinator is because I can't say his name well for the Notre Dame. They run the ball. They're a smash mouth team, so it's not a comparison in my opinion. Chiefs Kingdom, what's good, my guy? Appreciate you pulling up. James Furpo in the building with the Queefs. Raiders. Chiefs are going down. The pride of Fireball will triumph. I hope so, man. I hope so. You meet Garnza, not this year, three Pete. Y'all ain't winning, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all are not beating the Buffalo Bills this year. Your offense is struggling. This Bills team is firing on all cylinders at the right time. And the Kansas City Chiefs are still struggling to put it together. You don't know if they're going to have a shitty offensive day and a good defensive day, or a good defensive day and a shitty offensive day. And we haven't seen them like this in a long time. Usually we know what you're going to get out of the Kansas City Chiefs. But how much money you got on it, bro? Ooh, some bets in the building. And with that, this live is sponsored by Not Bet US, by Not Underdog Sports, and by not anybody else. So I'm just saying. Afakazi Raider, what's good, my guy? Never been done in a Super Bowl era three-peat. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Crazy. Afakazi Raider has a YouTube channel. Also, he is a content creator. If y'all haven't already, go check it out. Like and subscribe to his channel. Like and subscribe to mine. If you're in here and you're new to this channel, I'm your host, Raiders Rebel. Raiders Unleashed. James Furpo, you're right. What Furpo say? I don't know. Chiefs at least what? Admit that late hit on Mahomes sliding was bullshit. Yeah. Come on, man. That's like trying to get Tom Brady to fake admit it was a fumble. Like, you ain't getting no Chiefs fan to admit they was wrong and the refs trying to help them out. What is an acceptable record for the roster we have for Pete next year? Well, my guy, Mr. Gaza, I can't answer that because we don't have a roster. We have 27 free agents, and most of them are on the defensive side. So I we I de, we baby fucking I don't know, bro. But we have too many holes. I don't even know if we're gonna even have the same defense. We don't even know at this point if Max Crosby's gonna be back, if they're gonna trade him away for some crazy shit, and keep Malcolm Coons and rock with Malcolm Coons and Caleb on chasing. I mean, I don't know. So it's hard to say. I'm not making any predictions with the roster we have. I will be a man and stand on my shit because that's who I am. I said 13-4 this year. I was so wrong, right? I wasn't even close. Okay, I was close. We were 4-13. So fucking I had it backwards, dude. Maybe I have dyslexia. I mean, I did say Russell Wilson was going to be a Raider last year. Looks like he might be one this year. What else did I say? There was a bunch of shit I said last year. I was just a year behind. Oh, I said Vrabel was going to be the coach of the Patriots. That was this year it happened. So I might just be a year behind on everything. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What is your prediction on the game? One starter at QB, mine AOC. I'm not mad if AOC starts if that's the route we have to go. If it gets us, if it gets us better draft picks, because again, we have so many holes to fill at every position. So if we can get best player available or best value available, for position of need, then I'm down with that and start AOC and get us a running game. I think we can still win games. I think Aiden O'Connell, that bridge quarterback that can win you games, and I don't have to think. I know Aiden O'Connell can win us games. He's proven it. He's proven it over and over again. I've said if you take last 6 games, and the last 4 games this year, the man put up 15 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. So can he be that guy? Yes, he can. You know, in this system, probably not, because we all know that when it comes down to Pete Carroll, no matter who his offensive coordinator is, the system calls for a mobile quarterback, and we don't have that in Aiden O'Connell. He does not have a mobile bone in his body. Do we keep him as a backup? Yes. But then you're going to have a backup game plan if your quarterback gets hurt, because it's going to limit him as a backup to a mobile quarterback. We've seen how that worked with Sokar Garner Minshew being the mobile quarterback and Aiden being the backup. Aiden played better in the system than Garner did, but that's neither here nor there. But um, Ralph Capitan, my brother. So yeah, it all depends. It all depends. You know how I feel about AOC. I think AOC has a lot of talent that people overlook. I think there's no kid in the NFL. I know for a fact there's no kid in the NFL drafted in the 4th round that's had 4 offensive coordinators, 4 quarterback coaches, and has put up what the hell, he's got 22 touchdowns and 11 interceptions in his 16 games, and 4 of those interceptions come from games that he did not start in. He was trying to play hero ball and bring us back because Garner Minshew shit the bed and had us so far behind there was nothing we could do. So a lot of Aiden O'Connell's numbers um, look worse than they are, but they still don't look bad. So I wouldn't be mad at Aiden O'Connell being the bridge if we decide to go offensive line, go 2 running backs in this draft or a running back in free agency, because again, with the worst running back in the history of the NFL, bro, you gotta change that. And anybody's gonna struggle in this offense, right? You can put Joe Burrow, you can put Patrick Mahomes, you can put Lamar Jackson, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. You're not gonna change my mind. You can put any one of those dudes in this offense, and they're gonna be ass. They're going to be ass because they have no running game. They have no stability at the offensive line. And let's face it, Luke Getsy's system was trash with that wide zone. Was the worst wide zone scheme I ever seen. So it doesn't matter who was the quarterback. We weren't winning games in the system, and somehow we squeezed out games when the Turners took over, which I don't know how because we still had no run game, and they let Aiden O'Connell, a fourth round pick who everybody says sucks ass and will never be a starting quarterback, throw the ball 40 times a game, and we won games with a quarterback that's not a quarterback that everybody says throwing the ball 40 times a game. So yeah, I'm not mad at Aiden. I think we could definitely get away with Aiden for another year. Um, Raider Nation for life, Denver, Colorado. Doherty Baca, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you pulling up. First time, think about subbing. Tickle that notification button to turn it on. Denver, Colorado. That's got to be rough, right? In Donkey Land, being a Raiders fan, I'm not far off, man. I'm at the border of Missouri and Arkansas, so I get Chiefs fans everywhere. Um, let's see. Raiders don't want the first time coach with bad experience. We need a head coach with leadership, experience, discipline, and consistency. Pete Carroll is the right answer. See, Raf knows what's up. Raf in the building. Raf is also a content creator. El Capitan, go check out his channel. If y'all don't already follow him, go follow my man. Give him a like and subscribe. Uh, Even 73, he can make Raiders great again. I agree with you, Raf. I believe this was the best quarterback. I mean, the best coaching hire by far, in my opinion. And age is going to be a problem. It's going to be talked about. But look at Andy Reid and his age. Look at the health of the AFC West. Jim Harbaugh is going into heart surgery, hip surgery, and some other surgery. Um, Sean Payton just had problems last year, and Andy Reid is in and out of the hospital. Seems like every couple of months, dude. That dude's just a cheeseburger away from you don't know what the hell is going to happen. So, bro, age is the thing, but Pete Carroll's health is way better than anybody in the AFC. He is healthier than all those guys. He could still outrun all those dudes. He could throw the football longer than him. Like, Pete Carroll's age is going to be fine, bro. I think he's got 3 years easily. The only thing that I'm worried about is the NFL, going to try to screw the shit out of him and give him some crazy schedule like we had this year, where we fly to Miami, fly back to Vegas, fly back to Miami, fly back to Vegas, fly to Baltimore. I mean, dude, that shit was crazy, and that might take a toll on Pete Carroll because he didn't fly with the team, I believe, this year, right? He wasn't in that position where he had to be with the team, so he wasn't going traveling all over. Hopefully, the time off of not traveling doesn't, wear and tear on him. He doesn't get jet lag. He doesn't have all that shit. Why should we pick up? Why should we pick up Russell Wilson? He's a waste of money and time. Wait, how is? Okay, let me get this straight. How is a quarterback who has a Super Bowl ring, who was just hired 2 years ago to a $240 million contract, a waste of time and money when he took the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs on a $1.4 million contract? To me, that is the highest valued quarterback in the NFL right now. If you look at production to price range, nobody in the NFL besides the Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback. Okay, Jackson. Okay, I take that back. Take that back. The Commanders have a rookie quarterback. All right, I get it. Other than the Washington Commanders, nobody in the playoffs is paying their quarterback what the Steelers are paying their quarterback. So for the value at 1.4 million, it's a great value. And to have the Denver Donkeys, where you're from, still paying Russell Wilson's salary, not only this year that just passed, but next year, no matter what team he's on, means that he'll probably take another one of those $2-3 million deals. He's probably going to want more than he got last year at 1.4, taking the league minimum. it'll probably be a little bit higher, like Baker Mayfield did when he took the league minimum. Then the next year he got 4 million. Then the next year he got that big $30 million contract. But I could see him signing for the Raiders for 40 for for 4 million for a season, or 8 million, 10 million for two, which would be a great value, dude, for a Super Bowl caliber player that can still run the ball, could still throw the ball. I don't know what his numbers are exactly this year, but I know with the Denver Donkeys, he had 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Maybe I have it backwards. Maybe it was 28 and 6 interceptions. That's Pro Bowl caliber numbers, bro. In my opinion, like, come on. There's not many quarterbacks putting that shit up like Russ did, especially for the price that Russ got. So, no, I would take Russell Wilson in a heartbeat, especially if he comes in at another short league minimum deal like that. Come on, man. Even if he doesn't play, like, just the knowledge and the value he can bring to a quarterback room. The fact that he knows Pete Carroll, he knows, how to get what Pete Carroll's thinking. He's going to help get that point across to whatever rookie quarterback they have in the building. I think Russ would be a good pickup. Definitely. Would you Whoa, no, no. What did you say? I'm just going to erase that. I'm not even reading that. Come on, Arnie. I thought you were better than that, my guy. No, I was playing. I'll read it. Would you consider next year for Archie Manning sweepstakes next year? Start Minshew, stay with. Okay, for one, no. Gardner Minshew is not ever taking another snap under center for the silver and black, as far as I'm concerned, ever. And if they do, fuck, bro, I might have to find another team. Like, for real. If they do that, after 49 years, I might actually move on. Like, that might be the breaking point for me. I'm not kidding, bro. You will not see me doing this YouTube shit. I would be gone. I would be down the road. So, X-nay on the Gardner A. And no, I would never consider tanking for anybody ever. And Archie Manning's not coming out next year. He was a redshirt freshman, I do believe, this year, which means he has 4 more years of college. And if you know Archie Manning's parents and that family, they don't care about football. They don't care about money. They have plenty of it. They all have plenty of it. They care about their kid getting an education. So, top of the line for the Manning family. And I hope, please share this, repost it, clip it, put it on a YouTube short, just tag me in it. I hope the whole entire world listens to this shit that keeps talking about Archie Manning, bro. He's not coming out next year. He's not coming out the year after, and it probably won't even be the year after that. Until that dude graduates as a senior and has his education, I just don't see his parents letting him come out. And that's bottom line. If you know the Mannings and the history of the Mannings, football is not their number one priority. I mean, yes, it's what's been going on in their family history for who knows shit, probably the whole history, but education is what they care about for Arch Manning. So to tank for that dude, no. Arch Manning, it shouldn't even be talked about because it could be 3 years, it could be four. Maybe that dude, decides to be a Bo Nix and stay in college for 6 years, which I don't know if you can do that because you're not going to have a COVID year. But I mean, nah, I could see that dude being in college for a long time. Now, when it comes time for him to come out, yeah, you might definitely want to start making some roster moves and, trading some guys to get some pick values because dude is absolutely 100% worth drafting. I mean, you can look at both Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Arch Manning. Dude, that kid is faster than them both. He's more athletic than all three of them, the father and both sons. He's got a killer arm. Like, dude, Arch Manning is gonna be a freak in the NFL, and every team is gonna want that kid. So, yeah, the only way we definitely get that dude is if somehow Pete Carroll decides not to sign his 4th year. Damn, hey, maybe the stars are aligning. I don't know. But maybe, hot take, Pete Carroll doesn't sign his fourth year with the Raiders, decides to leave, and we don't have a predecessor. And we decide we are searching for a whole new coach, a whole new coaching staff, and all that shit. And we have a losing record. And maybe that's why Pete Carroll, maybe we win for 2 years and then we buy a Super Bowl his first or second year, and then we fall apart and draft Archie Manning because we have the shittiest record in the NFL. Who knows? I don't know. It could happen. Um, Sacktown Mike in the building. What's good, man? Sorry I didn't get to you before. I'm so far behind on these chats, dude. Facts Rebel, we are the 32nd rushing attack in the league. Yeah, and yeah, I hear other, Mitchell Renz was on, shout out to Mitchell Renz for doing all the shows with the lower tier, lower income tax, whatever you want to call it. Content creators. He's been on with a lot, but yeah, the dude was on Rundown and they was talking biggest needs and value. And there's like it has to be a quarterback, which yes, we need a quarterback. And yes, you should draft a quarterback every year until you find your guy. That's my opinion. But you have to have the team around him if you're planning on drafting a quarterback in the first round. And we're not there with 27 free agents, with a new coach, a new coaching staff. I mean, that could be a time that you say, fuck it, it's a complete rebuild. Let's just go get our quarterback now and trade away, the next 3 years and don't give Pete Carroll anything to work with. That's going to be horrible, right? Y'all are going to expect this dude to come in and win and move and trade up for a quarterback all in the same year. Some expectations might be a little too high. So, um, yeah, I think we got to build the offensive line. We need at least two guards, probably a left tackle. Like I don't care how long Colton Miller's been here. You know, I know he was drafted. He's one of the last original Oakland Raiders, but Colton Miller is not the left tackle you want protecting the blind side of your rookie quarterback. He had one of his worst years ever. Can he have a better year? Is it worth taking that chance and believing Colton Miller can be that guy and drafting a rookie quarterback in the first round? I don't know. I don't know, but I believe that's what they're going to do. It'll probably be, you know, Shador. They're probably going to move up and do some bonehead shit, and we're going to be trash for the next couple years. Or, maybe they'll move up and it'll work. But I want to see best player available, build in this draft. Let the man that knows how to pick players, how to change culture, how to get people to buy in, to play for him, and a new guy in Spytek that has 2 more years than Pete Carroll. Let them put their minds together, get a young, get the offensive staff together so we know which direction we're going. Do you need a Marshawn Lynch style running back who just run people over? Or, do you need a Reggie Bush or, a LaDainian Tomlinson that could, make the first five guys miss and then walk to the end zone? It just depends on who your offensive coordinator is going to be, what your identity is going to be. And until we have an identity, it's hard to say. It's hard to say on a lot of shit. Um, our QB and running back room is the worst NFL. Who has the worst than us? I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's the worst. Okay, maybe it's the worst if you put them all together. Yeah, it's pretty bad when you have Gardner in that mix, and then you have Ritter, and then you have AOC who's only played 16 games. That everybody's gonna already say he's not that guy when you haven't seen what he can do in a system. Come on, how anybody, even Jesus Christ himself can look at a guy who's had four different coaches or two different coaches, four offensive coordinators, four different systems, and played 15 games and only started 12 of those or 13 of those is not him. I just don't know, bro. I don't know. Y'all got some talents I don't have. But yes, we have a terrible quarterback room, terrible running back room, the worst I've ever seen by far. Dart is a quarterback. I hope we can get him in the second round. Yeah, I think Dart could be that guy. I hope that if they do draft him, and money is another question. If you didn't check out my last live 2 days ago, go check it out because it talks about where we're at with the 98 million dollars. Some people say it's 120. It's really right at $100 million salary cap. But if we sign just 8 players on the defense, that's $70 million of that 100 mil. We have 27 free agents. That's only signing 8 of them. We are in problem. We are in trouble, bro. We have problems. So to me, like, you have to make most of the moves in the draft. This has to be another killer draft. And we're gonna have to get a bunch of young guys on cheap deals or sign a bunch of guys on 1 year contracts because the money's not gonna be there like everybody thinks it is. And we're not even taking into account that Max Crosby has no more guaranteed money and he's going to want a new contract. So where do you fit in Max Crosby being happy, a franchise quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 guards, a new tackle, um, replacing 8 defensive players on the defensive line? Yeah, bro, we got some work cut out for us. We got some work cut out for us. As a Chiefs fans, I like the move Carroll to stabilize the franchise and develop a better culture. Anomaly, what's good? Appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I appreciate you pulling up as a Chiefs fan and being respectful in the chat. Not many of y'all do that. So shout out. We have had 16 ranked or better D. I think we were ranked, yeah, 15th or 16th last year. What are y'all thoughts on Patrick Graham? Do y'all want Patrick Graham to come back? He stuck his nose out there. He didn't sign a contract extension that's been sitting on his desk for fucking, like, I think all year pretty much. And, he went and tested the waters and nobody bit, right? He didn't get a head coaching job. Um, Most of the defensive jobs that he interviewed for, they went another route. What does that say about our defensive coach? And if nobody else wants him, why do we want him back as a Raiders, right? We had one good year with him. That was the last year Antonio Pierce took over as interim head coach. In the 3 years he's been with the Raiders, we had a half a season that was decent. In the time he's been in the NFL, he's had that half a season that was decent. The rest have been losing seasons. So I'm out on Patrick Graham. And the fact that nobody else wants him, that he didn't sign his contract, that he doesn't want to be here. And now, if he doesn't get to go nowhere, he's going to want to try to, come back as a last resort. Nah, bro. You didn't want to be here. Move on. You didn't do that great, in my opinion. We lost a lot of games because of defense, because of no tackling, because of not being able to stop the run, and not being able to get hot until the fourth quarter, like when it's too late. So I'm out on Patrick Graham. I don't know about y'all, but yes, we did have a 16th ranked defense, which is not bad. He did a damn good job considering the injuries that we had to, a lot of starting high caliber players that had Pro Bowl potential. But you just can't. To me, I'm out on Graham. You can't keep taking chances, on a guy that's been here 3 years. The team he's had around him, the players he's had around him, the way Robbie Leonard has developed the defensive line, and as solid as that defensive line has been, Patrick Graham's corners and linebackers should have been able to eat. And I mean eat constantly, like corner blitzes, safety blitzes, linebacker blitzes. We are one of the least blitzing teams in the NFL. This is why we get our asses kicked a lot. We don't take chances. So no, I want to move on from the whole the whole team, really. I mean, if you can clear everybody out, clear them out. Like I said, Robbie Leonard, I'd be willing to keep. Luke Steckel, and probably that's I can't really think of anybody else on that on the on the staff that I would keep around besides those two guys. What else we got? Rebel, in your opinion, was the offensive line, running back scheme, or were we so bad at running the ball? I think the scheme was weak, but it wasn't bad. Getsy's run game was all right in Chicago. I think Madison was the worst pickup we've had at running back in a long, long, long time. And, nothing against Madison. I love what he did in the community. I love what he did for the kids, not only in Vegas, but in his home state, wherever he was from, Cali or whatever. All the shit he was doing out there. The man's a stand up dude, but he's not a starting running back. And he should have never even been, signed in free agency to be a starting running back. Just there was there's so many guys. I would have rather even went and got a Dante Foreman, um, who was in Luke Getsy's system the year before. Like, I thought would have been a lot better. Just his vision. Madison is a third down back. He's a third down back that could maybe get you 1 or 2 yards, which he didn't. He couldn't do that for us. Um, but definitely can catch the ball out of the backfield, can make some guys miss in the open field. But he has no vision. He has no cut, no wiggle, and he's basically just, if the play calls for an A gap, he's hitting the A gap. If it calls, to run outside the tackles, he's running into the tackle. Like, I'm sorry, just Madison. I thought was I never liked him. I was never on board with that pick, and I was like, "What the hell are we thinking?" Which is another reason I was never on board with Telesco. Um, Unfortunately, Zamir White is more of a power runner, and I thought the system really hurt him. Not knowing who our offensive line was going to be, I thought hurt him, and then him not being able to be healthy. He had a hamstring injury. I don't know what the other injury was he had, quadricep or something. I think when he got his arm ripped off because he got the ball pulled out. So, I thought Zamir White was gonna pick up where he left off, having 100 yards a game. Carrying the shit out of the ball, beast mode out there with the ball in his hands. But his vision is sorry too. So I thought for for Zamir White, I think it was more of the scheme, and for Madison, I think it was more of the player. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But either way, our run game was ass, bro. It's just ass. Arnie Gaza, correct. Uh, Rebel, every new coach and GM, same results, not following. Hoping we need new results. Yeah, some of us have been patient longer than 20 years, and patience is definitely running thin. Stephen Conway, what's good, my guy? Alan, what's good, my guy? Whoever else, Chris Jones, appreciate you. Anybody else I missed, appreciate you pulling up. Think about hitting that like, subscribing to the channel. Jalen Milrow would be a better fit than Dart. Okay, Alan, why? Because I don't see any scenario on earth that you can give me that could convince me otherwise. Like, I mean, I respect your opinion, and like I said, why? If you want to elaborate and not collaborate, but elaborate and tell me how you could even come to that fucking conclusion, like our thought, bro. Jalen Milrow has 1,500 yards rushing in his career in college. Jaxon Dart has 1,500 yards rushing in his career in college. Jalen Milrow has more interceptions, has less passing yards. The only thing I like about Jalen Milrow better than Dart is he does throw to the middle of the field, which would be very, very, um, you know, profitable for us because We have Brock Bowers, right? You have a tight end you want to throw over the middle of the field. However, we don't really run him over in the middle of the field. Most of the plays last year were slants, drag routes, out routes, catching, behind the line of the scrimmage. Hopefully all that changes. But I just, man, I don't know. Like I said, I will get to your comments. I'll read in a minute. But Jalen Milroe does not have the awareness Jaxon Dart has. He does not have the ability to read defenses, to call plays at the line. Um, Jalen Milroe is horrible at reading zone defense. He's not very good even at man. He thinks he has man on man, and he puts the ball where only the defender can fucking intercept it. In my opinion, from what I've seen on tape, he makes very bad decisions. And for a kid that already has this master's degree in college at his age and still makes those bad decisions, I don't see him being better than Jaxon Dart. Uh, he sat behind Bryce Young for 2 years. He only has 2 years experience, I do believe, maybe three at the college level. So he has way less snaps than a Jaxon Dart or even a Riley Leonard. Um, I just don't see it, bro. I don't see it. The fact that he's muscular, maybe he does have a linebacker's build or a running back build. He does run a 4.340, but again, that doesn't make you a good quarterback. That doesn't give you the ability to put touch on your balls. Pause if necessary. If you need to put touch on your balls, use a ball deal. No, I'm just kidding. But real talk though, yeah, you're that big. You have to be able to have touch. You have to be able to know when to rip it in there, when to lay it up. And I haven't seen him be able to do that. To me, every ball is 120 miles an hour. The receivers can barely catch it, whether the ball's 5 foot in front of him or 50 yards down the field. He's throwing it at the same speed every time. And to me, that's not an NFL quarterback. Now, if you want another Jalen Milroe, not Jalen Milroe, if you want another Jalen Hurts type guy that your Philadelphia Eagles only win games when you throw for less than 200 yards, then that's cool. If that's what you want in Vegas, you have your opinion, bro. I'm all for it. But bro, I don't see it. I don't see it. The first two quarterbacks in the end of the waste anything on either one of them. What the first two quarterbacks in the OF we waste any? I don't know. Fuck, I can't read that shit. Conway, can I get a comma or a period? No, I get what you're trying to say though. The first two quarterbacks, which being Cam Ward and Shador, I don't get what you're saying. I don't know. I can't figure it out, bro. I can't figure it out. The turning our franchise from just win baby to committed to mediocrity is when Al Davis trapped Gruden, changed everything forever. Oh, traded Gruden. I thought you said trapped. I was like, trapped him? What? Yeah, I think Gruden put us on a downhill slide, definitely for sure. We had that team, right? We had that team. We were nasty on offense. Oh yeah, memories, memories, memories. But what can you do, right? You're a Raider fan. You definitely know pain, and you learn to deal with it. Pick six, Will Johnson or Totoro McMillan. Something about McMillan rubs me wrong. Pause if necessary. That's not what I meant. I need to learn how to pronunciate better or fucking whatever. I need to learn how to talk better. I need a better vocabulary. It's hard when every other word is F this and F that and try not to say it all the time. makes me think of other words to fucking say, and they're always wrong. Damn. But where the hell was that? McMillan. Jesus. Uh, yeah, McMillan, dude. I don't know. 6'6". He's a decent. I mean, insane size. I think he's a little bit too fragile and frail for me. Um, I just don't know how he's going to fit in the NFL. He might be unguardable, at that size. His route tree to me seems kind of basic. I don't know if he has, the whole route tree. I see him basically running, a whole bunch of out routes because of his size. And, most of the routes are routes that he can get in front of guys, body guys. And I don't see that happening as much in the NFL as it does in college. So, again, we'll have to see, what he does and if he's in any of these senior bowls or shrine games, you know, because we've seen how he measured up right against solid top defenses. I don't know if I'm going six. I'm definitely not taking McMillan at six. No, Will Johnson. Um, I think Will Johnson is one of the best corners in this draft, if not the best corner. I'm not really high on Michigan, you know, as a whole as a team. But we did get Charles Woodson in the first round. I do believe at the sixth. What pick was it? I don't know what pick was, but we did get Charles Woodson in the first round. That turned out to be, one of the greatest picks in franchise history. If you ask me, we should have never let him go to the Green Bay Packers. You live and you learn. Um, yeah, Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson is that dude. I think if you put Will Johnson with the Ja'Cory and Bennett, would be crazy. But I also really, really like Decamarion Richardson. And I've got shit about this all year because he did get beat a lot. He was, a rookie that was hurt you know, most of the beginning of the season. I think the first 5 or 6 games, he didn't even practice because of a hamstring. So he was way behind, had a lot of catching up to do. Most of his reps was, on film. So that I think kind of put him behind the 8 ball. But for him to play the way he played, getting thrown into the fire when JB got hurt, I think D Cam could be one of them dudes, and it might take a while. Maybe you could bring a Richard Sherman in as a defensive back coach or a defensive coordinator, and help work with a D Cam because Decamarion Richardson kind of reminds me of a Richard Sherman with the you know, with his length, with his size, with his ability to what am I trying to say? To recover. When he gets beat or when a guy puts a move on him, he has very, very quick recover ability. So he's never out of the play. He was one of the leading tacklers in every game he played in when he got to start when Ja'Cory and Bennett got hurt. So I think we have a damn good, young backfield. And I think, dude, Will Johnson would just make that shit just way better. Will Connie says, how about McCarthy? I think the way Sam Darnold played in the playoffs is they're not giving up McCarthy. I mean, you would have to trade Max Crosby to probably even have them pick up the phone to entertain the conversation. And that's a no for me. But JJ McCarthy is going to be a damn good quarterback in this league. Uh, he deserves where he got drafted. Probably could have even got drafted, before a couple of these quarterbacks. Actually, I don't know. This quarterback room was nasty, bro. So, yeah, JJ McCarthy is going to be one of those ones. Now, the fact that he got hurt and tore his ACL and shit right away as a rookie, hopefully he can recover from that. But I just don't see if Minnesota has any brains in that operation at all. you can't put a price on a JJ McCarthy. I mean, you got one of them ones for sure. Pete Carroll builds from the inside out. Yep, that's exactly what I was saying. Rick, my guy, what's good? What's good? My top choice is Abdul Carter or Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham would be a fucking monster in Pete Carroll's system, bro. I think, you know, that is what they want to do in any Pete Carroll different defense, whether, it's Gus Bradley, whether it's Dan Quinn, whether it's both of them. I don't even remember who his last DC was, whether it's Ken Norton Jr. It doesn't matter who the DC is. One thing they do is they rush 4 and they drop 7, right? Every single play almost, it seems like. Once in a while they might blitz, on third down you might see them send 2 linebackers or a corner, but most of the time in a Pete Carroll's defense, they're going to rush 4, and those 4 guys need to be the cornerstone and the heart and the soul of the defense. And if you have a Max Crosby, a Christian Wilkins, a Mason Graham, and a Malcolm Kuntz with Kaylavon Chasen and Jonah Lalu coming in behind him. Ooh, ooh, sign me up. Let's start the season now. You know what I'm saying? And that defense, bro. And that allows your linebackers to cover in the flats, which is why he's always had speedy linebackers, which is why I think, as much as I hate to say it, Robert Spillane might not be back, unless they just decide to go to a 4-3 and they use 3 linebackers and they have the Sam and the Will, covering sideline to sidelines, and they just let the Mike linebacker eat. Cover, by eat, I mean you got one on one with the running back, or you're blitzing pretty much most of the time. You're not covering a tight end, you're not trying to cover a slot receiver, because I think Robert Spillane just hurt us a lot when he was doing that. So, look for Robert Spillane to maybe not make the team, just because Carroll likes them fast, linebackers that can cover ground quickly. Hell no to Shador. I hear you, Rick, on the hell no to Shador, but I'm kind of I'm getting to the point where I'm not gonna be throwing shit at the TV, right? Like, I'm trying to groom myself to be able to be like, okay, we drafted Shador. I don't want to be on my watch party because I'll probably be live for the draft. Maybe I'll have some other people. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I don't know why 2.5 hours into my live. Fuck, I've been on 2.5 hours. We did hit monetization, the small monetization. So I can't get super chats and all that shit. So let me know. Hit me up on my email or on my Instagram, Raiders Rebel at Raiders Rebel on IG, Raider Rebel _ at Twitter, and Raider Rebel 75 at Gmail. So hit me up on any of those. Let me know what I should do for super chat, not for super chats, but for the membership shit, for the membership tiers. I don't know if y'all want to have like solo, private meetings or private lives or one-on-one talks, or 20-man Zoom chats talking about football, or shit. You all can even comment in here. Let me know. I don't even know if y'all are gonna, you know, become members and shit. But if you do, I would like some suggestions. So yeah, we are just waiting on YouTube to let us know if we did get monetized, and hopefully there will be nothing stopping us. And if it does, shit, just look for shit to start blowing up, start having some more fun, doing some more shit. We can also do some membership, which would be a little bit more one on one. Top choices: Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. I got that. See if Russell can come back. Uh, Jamarcus. Jamarcus is a free agent. What Jamarcus? What Jamarcus? The Titans are bad. I mean, what's the possibility of moving up? What do y'all think about moving up? Trade out of the sixth spot, stack picks, and build the trenches. Michael Avila, what's good, man? I appreciate you pulling up. Um, what was I reading? Oh yeah, that one. Trading back always makes sense to me. Always makes sense to me for many reasons, right? For many reasons. For the main one is the more the merrier, right? The more picks you can get in the draft, the better chances you have on hitting on a guy and getting, that diamond in the rough that nobody drafted or nobody seen coming, Tom Brady, uh, Brock Purdy, the list can go on and on. Max Crosby even in the fourth round. There's just so many guys that are slept on that that get picked in the later rounds. So the more picks, the better. Um, so if you could trade back and still get value, you don't want to trade too far back so you're out of the blue chip prospect because I think with the holes that we have, we do need best player available. And I think we do have to have a blue chip player in this draft. And somewhere, around maybe 7, 8, maybe even 6 might be, the end of the blue chip players in this draft. There could be 10, but that's a tall ask for, you know, if there are 10, most of them are probably running backs and defensive ends, defensive linemen. So yeah, trading back, I'm always down with trading back, especially if you can get more value and even more especially if that's even a word, more especially fucking vocabulary is ass. The fuck was I gonna say? Even more is if you can get a second or another third round because we have two thirds already. We have a second. And if you can double those up and come up with two second rounds and two third rounds, that gives you the opportunity to move back up into the first and take a Jaxon Dart if you think, you can always call around in the NFL as a GM and be like, what are y'all thinking? I'm thinking about trading up. Who are you guys? Even if you're not thinking about trading up, just to get a feel of who they're thinking about. And there's always talks. There's always going to be rumors on teams on how high they are of a guy. So if you know a team, if Jaxon Dart's your guy or Riley Leonard's your guy, and you think there's a team that might take him or move up to take him in the second round, or has the first 3 or 4 picks that might jump on him, you might want to be able to trade back up into the first round. And the best way I would just trade back in the first round is have the most picks possible. So I'm not opposed. I'm even would rather trade back in a lot of scenarios like last year, not last year, but the year before. And shit, even last year, I probably would have traded back and we would have missed out on Brock Bowers because, you know, Quinyon Mitchell was there at what, 21, 23 or some shit. And I thought that was the best player. That was best player on my board, which I didn't think tight end was a need, and I don't think anybody else did. So Quinyon Mitchell was the guy I had highest on the list that I thought we should have took at 13, and I thought we could have traded back and still got him and had a bunch of value. But we ended up with Brock. Um, and it depends on who you trade with. If you're trading with a team like, let's just say, the Dallas Cowboys, because we know the Dallas Cowboys probably want an Ashton Genty. And if Ashton Genty is sitting there at 6, they're probably going to be a Jerry Jones phone call saying, Mr. Spytek, what you want for that 6 spot, right? Now, do you trade with the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know. They're sitting at what, 12? Depends on what they're offering. But, if the Cowboys call and say, hey, we'll give you, you know, this pick, our second, and our fourth, and whatever, a second next year, a second and a third next year, shit, who knows? How bad do you want Ashton Genty, right? You have to take it. You have to take. So I'm not opposed to trading back whatsoever in any round. And again, it all comes down to scenarios. If any QB, is there any QB you feel will not work in Carroll's system? Yeah, Aiden O'Connell, a pocket passer. I don't think a pocket passer fits Pete Carroll's system at all. But he's more of a defensive guy, so his system is pretty much going to be, I believe, whatever his offensive coordinator system is. That's how it's been in the past. He wants to run the ball. He wants to not turn the ball over. That's a main thing. That's the main thing. And I think that's where Aiden O'Connell has a shot, is he doesn't really turn the ball over and he doesn't make stupid decisions. And that is one of the biggest pet peeves with the Pete Carroll, quarterback, is he doesn't want him to take chances. He doesn't want him to be stupid with the football. And, that's going to be a big thing, which I think that might be a problem with Jalen Milroe. Like, he's going to take chances. He's going to think he can put every pass in between 2 or 3 defenders, and he can't. Like, his arm's just not as strong as he thinks he is. Sometimes your head is bigger than, what you can accomplish. But yeah, to answer your question, I think a pocket passer is not the best for a Pete Carroll system. I think Aiden O'Connell, you know, even a Sam Darnold worked all right, but he could still was one of those guys that he could pick up plays. Not the most athletic in the world, not the fastest, but he's not a statue. And I think Aiden O'Connell would be bad because Pete Carroll's going to run a lot of, he's not going to run, but he wants his offensive coordinator to run RPOs, to run play action. That's how most of his teams, even with the Shane Waldron, that's how most of his teams succeeded, is they pounded the shit out of the rock, right? You had a Marshawn Lynch that could carry the ball 30, 40 times. It didn't matter. As many times you wanted to give Marshawn the rock, he was willing to carry it. And then your quarterback just had to make smart decisions. So you have to have a smart quarterback in this system, or whatever system it's going to be. But in his vision of the system, you have to be, a smart quarterback that doesn't make dumb decisions or turn the ball over, which I think fits Aiden O'Connell pretty well. Russ or Sanders as QB? I mean, I'm taking Russ just because he's probably just as athletic and as mobile as a Shador. Shador probably has better accuracy, but if you want to go, experience wise, somebody that's seen every defense you can throw at him, I mean, you have to go with Russell Wilson. You got to take experience no matter what. Um, Redrafting the Raiders, getting Megatron, Michael Crabtree instead of Russ and Howard. That would have been a hell of a redraft, and we might have had damn, we might have had a whole different a whole different franchise. That could really turn. I mean, come on, you get a Megatron and a Crabtree, bro, instead of a Hayward Bay, Marcus Russell. Lane Kiffin might still have a job. I mean, damn. Not like Josh McCown. who was the third string quarterback, or Dante Culpepper was gonna do shit over there. Russ Sanders, the QB. I read that. Rebel, would you be disappointed if we draft Will Campbell O line if Carter is gone? Does he play left? Does he play left tackle? I can't remember. I think he plays left tackle, right? Nah, I wouldn't be mad. Will Campbell from LSU? Nah, bro. Nah, that dude's a road grader, a monster. He probably needs some work, but I mean, come on, you're protecting one of the baddest dudes. I mean, a quarterback in one of the toughest divisions in all of football. In my opinion, the SEC has always been the hardest division. So yeah, Will Campbell's a dog. I kind of like the Jeremiah Clooney from Oregon, the dude that got hurt. Is it Clooney? Fuck is his last name? The dude that got hurt, I think from Oregon or Ohio State. I can't remember which one, but I think that dude's definitely got potential to be a starting left tackle in the NFL like right away, depending on how the injury comes out. But I also like Campbell out of was it Texas, the right tackle, and Banks. I like Calvin Banks Jr. Also, I believe from Texas, right? I might be wrong on my teams. I don't know. I have so many damn players in my head right now. But no, I think Will Campbell would be, an upgrade from Colton Miller just because he's younger. And, we can get value from a Colton Miller, or I don't know if he wants to sit and be a backup or a rotational piece. But you definitely, if you're bringing in a Shador, you know, a guy that his main knock coming out of college is standing in the pocket and holding the football too long, or, waiting till the last minute to try to scramble and taking way too many sacks. If that's a guy that you're moving up to get and you're risking a franchise on, you have to have an O line. You have to have an O line. So, I mean, I would definitely be way happier drafting drafting a Will Campbell in the first round and taking, Jaxon Dart or a Riley Leonard or, you know, even a Milrow, but that would have to be like fourth or fifth round. And he would have to sit 2 years for me because he only has 2 years college experience. And that's not gonna fly. When you look at his decision making in the offense that they run in Alabama, whether with his new coach or with Nick Saban, you know, his decision making cost Alabama a lot of games. His interception cost Alabama a lot of games. And whether you have a physique like Anthony Richardson, Anthony Richards, or you run a 4.340, none of that shit matters as a quarterback. If you can't read defenses, if you can't change plays at the line, and you can't put your guys in position to make plays, if you throw it behind them over their head, throw them hospital balls, you're going to be sitting on the bench for a long time. So taking a chance on a guy sitting on the bench for a long time just doesn't appeal to me. What system for Carroll won't know? Yeah, pretty much. I would get T Mac if everyone is gone. Carter, Johnson, Sanders, Ward is mostly likely side Shador, probably because Brady and Davis. I mean, I agree. I would. I just don't think there's too many receivers taken in the third, second, fourth, fifth, sixth that can become that dude. And to take a receiver in the first round, you know, when you have offensive line needs, when you have no running game, I just don't see a number one receiver being a priority over a quarterback, offensive line, running back, when you have um when you have a Brock Bowers and a Jacoby Myers, sorry, I brain fart for a minute. And even a Michael Mayer, and don't forget Trey Tucker over there. So, and then you have, which I don't know if he'll make the team, probably, probably a very very long shot. But you have the kid from Tennessee, the wide receiver, I really really like. I think that kid, Ramel Keaton, you know, Ramel Keaton's another big ass dude. Noah Gonzalez, what's good, my guy? So taking a receiver in the first round when that's not the number one need. I mean, you can go get T. Higgins. You can trade for a receiver. There's a bunch of receivers that you could fill that void in free agency, for not too much of a price, and you don't have to break the bank to go get. But there's receivers in free agency that you can break the bank and go get that number one guy. And I think if you draft a quarterback, that you definitely need that security blanket. But if you draft a quarterback, are you really going to be throwing the ball down the field, like the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels do every other play? Probably not. You're probably going to be running, 5-10 yard passes, running the shit out of the ball, hitting your tight end, which we have two of the best tight ends in football, in my opinion, right now. So no, T Mac, I'm out. I would rather take a Ashton Genty and swing for the fences in the first round, which is crazy because there's so many running backs in this draft that you'd probably be a clown to take a Ashton Genty in the first round. But then you could also be a hero because he could turn out to be, a once in a lifetime Barry Sanders type dude. Not that he has any comparison to Barry Sanders. I'm just saying as a great running back. Cam Ward, future Raider. What's up, Raider Nation? What's good? MP55, what's good, my guy? Appreciate you pulling up in the building. Richard says, Richardson was as good as Jack Jones with better tackling ability. I think Richardson is a way better tackler than Jack Jones. I don't think he's as good. Um, Instincts, his instincts aren't as good yet. Can they get there? Absolutely. He was that dude in college. He didn't have a whole lot of interceptions, but he definitely, if you look at his PBUs, the man can break up some passes. He's definitely always around the ball. Sometimes it might be a second or two late, but when he does get beat, he doesn't get cooked. He has that recovery speed, and yeah, the dude's damn good. But I think Jack Jones, in the league being 3 years, I think has more experience, and again has better instincts, and studies tape a lot more. He's seen a lot more quarterbacks, a lot more shit in the NFL. But yeah, DCam's gonna be one of them dudes. Write that shit down. He's gonna be one of them dudes, especially with the defensive back coach and Pete Carroll. Like if anybody can make Jacorian Bennett and DCam, and let's not even forget we still have what's the other one that we drafted? What is his name? MJ Davonshire. We still have him, right? Too on the practice squad. MJ Davonshire. Like that was the kid I thought was going to be better. To be honest, I thought MJ Davonshire was better and looking better in camp, you know, than D. Camry Richardson. So that's another guy to watch out for. And let's not forget about Trey Taylor. Just look at what from my coach. Think about what Pete Carroll, as a defensive back and a defensive minded guy, what his defensive backfields look like when it comes to safeties and corners. Like they hit, they they turn the ball over. People are scared to catch the ball in front of these guys. Like they are known for just laying the lumber and trying to put guys in the hospital. Like these dudes, their defensive backs hit. That's one thing about Pete Carroll's defense is his safeties and his corners are known for tackling and big hitters. And we have a guy in Trey Taylor who sat a whole entire season because of a bad knee that is a fucking missile when it comes to tackling out of Air Force. Can you imagine Trey Taylor? Oh my goodness, bro. If we get the right defensive backs and just the fact with Carroll in the building, what he's gonna do with Paul Amau and Trey Taylor, holy shit, dude. Trey Taylor's gonna be scary, dude. Scary. What is your opinion on Tyree Wilson's second full season? I think I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that. I don't know if I want to say that. I can't tell you what I think. Can't tell you what I think. Um no, fuck, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think Tyree is he's learning, but I think he's being held back. And it has nothing to do with the player or the team or the coaches. But I think, you know, he's used to in college being that dude where everybody, he was that guy. He was the man that he was dominating. Everybody looked up to him. He was the guy in practice getting everybody pumped up, kind of like Max does. And I think he's just overshadowed because he doesn't get enough playtime to learn on the fly. He doesn't get enough reps. And we seen when Max Crosby got injured and went down, Tyree Wilson's game stepped up a lot, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but maybe it's just more playtime, maybe it's more reps, maybe it's because he had to be the leader and he felt like, he had been there longer than the Caleb Von Chasen and, Snowden and the guys that we had just brought in. Um, currently that were on the roster. I don't know what it was, but I thought, Tyree took way bigger steps when Max got hurt. And even before Max was out in the Cleveland game that Max Crosby missed, Tyree had what, 2 sacks in that game or a sack and a half and like 3 pressures or some shit. Like the man was going off. He was getting getting pressure on the quarterback. He was chasing down running backs. I think he's damn good in the running game. uh, did he do enough to make up for being the seventh pick overall? No. Can he ever do enough to make up for being the seventh pick overall? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can. You can. You could be a defensive league MVP and have, 18 sacks and take us to the Super Bowl. I think you would live up to being a seventh round pick if that happens. Do I see that happening? I mean, no, not anytime soon. Now, can the dude get faster? Yes, but with his size and his power, you know, you got to develop your craft, right? Your craft in the college, in the college level was, you know, me strong, push, beast. Like, it was simple, caveman style, right? You're just like, a big monster. You just moving people around and you're stronger than everybody. You're bigger than everybody. And the tackles didn't really have a chance. You didn't need technique, right? You didn't need to be bendable. You didn't need to have a quick first step. You didn't need to have, all kinds of hand techniques and moves. You could just push people out of your way, right? And in the NFL, these are grown men, and he can't get away with that shit. So I think as he develops, if we keep Robbie Leonard in the building, I think Rob Leonard is a big part of his development. So I mean, I don't know what you want for the question. Like, I think he did all right. I mean, he wasn't a seventh round, a seventh pick overall in the first round, but we did draft him knowing he was hurt, and I still will give him that. But he wasn't hurt this year, right? And he had Malcolm Kuntz go down. He had Christian Wilkins go down, and I thought that was the time for him to really step up and take the bull by the horns and show he could be that dude. But then you have to put that on Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham obviously thought he wasn't ready, and played him minimal, like played him basically on third downs to stop the run, and didn't really let him rush the passers. Put him at defensive tackle a lot. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but I think he's baby steps, right? Baby steps. Congrats to the milestone. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, I got to read these and get the hell off here. Appreciate all y'all for sticking with me like you always do. You are my family for sure. If we draft Shador in the first round, what is your expectations for first year? Or would you rather draft an impact player instead if he's going to sit? Dude, that's what I'm saying. To me, I just can't see wasting draft picks, moving up to get a guy that we already could have had. We already had the first round pick, and we swindled that away by having stupid ownership, making stupid decisions, having coaches and a GM win games when they were just going to be fired anyway. Now, okay, maybe they didn't know they were going to be fired until after the season, but I'm sure they had a pretty damn good idea that neither one of the coach wasn't going to be here definitely, and the GM might not be here. So for Mark Davis and Tom Brady, because he's in there making all the decisions, right? You got to put him in that group. For them to put that on AP and Tom Telesco to try to win those last couple games and knock us out of that first spot, put us in a position where I thought that damn, it's not quarterback again this year, and I thought maybe that was the reason why Ben Johnson was like, I don't want nothing to do with this job. They're not going to get a quarterback again, so that kind of scares me. Definitely kind of scares me. But if he is drafted in the first round, if he falls to us at 6, he's got to start. Like he's got to start because we have Aiden O'Connell. Nobody's going to be happy. The nation is going to be, fucking panties in a wad, G strings, breaking, snapping everywhere because their assholes are so tight because we drafted a Shador Sanders and he's sitting for a year. Like that's going to be absolutely crazy, especially if you move up to get him. But then on the other hand, if you draft him and he doesn't sit for a year and he's ass, then people are going to have their, G strings even tighter up their puckered bung holes. So I think, fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think at this point, I'm really one of those dudes that when I get my mind set on something and I have a feeling that I stick with that feeling. Same with that, everybody told me the Raiders had no chance of drafting Dylan Labe last year. There was no way Dylan Labe was going to be the pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I stood on that shit until the draft. Who did we draft? Dylan Labe. Now, it might have been luck. It might have been, me just seeing that the dude fit in this system and being a fucking Raiders fan for 49 years and having some experience, did I get lucky? Maybe. Did I call it? Maybe. But I'm pretty good at, I said Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors were going to be, the best receivers in this draft. And everybody was like, there's no way. You see Marvin Harrison Jr., you see Roma Dunze, what he did. Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I've seen him. But did you see what JD5 and Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors did? Like, those two guys are the best receivers in this draft. And I still believe Brian Thomas Jr., when it's all said and done, will break all of their records. If he gets a better quarterback in Jacksonville, depending on who the quarterback ends up being with the Giants and Malik Neighbors. But with the right quarterback, those dudes are studs. So what I'm trying to say is I'm usually a pretty good judge of talent, and I haven't missed much since I've been doing mock drafts and shit like that, are guys that I want. They might not come to the Raiders, but if they go to another team, they're not usually bust, right? They're usually top players that contribute like a motherfucker. And like I said, that dude for me was Quinyon Mitchell last year. Quinyon Mitchell has been killing it as a rookie over there in Philly all year long. Some people have Fuaga on the offensive line. Um, I'm not going to tell you who I had, but he's been starting all year, and I think he was drafted in the fourth or fifth round over there in Baltimore. I was like, man, for the value, if you get him, he's going to be a starter. That dude will never be a starter. So, anyways, what I'm saying is, I usually, when I get that feeling in my gut, I usually go with that shit and I stick with it. So, I have that feeling that, Cam Ward and Shador are just not first round quarterbacks. I just don't think there's first round, guys that are ready to come in and start right away in this draft. I think all of them would benefit from sitting a year. Most of them are probably going to get thrown into the fire halfway through a year, which that's just how it works in the NFL. But yeah, so with that being said, I think the best value is if you got a quarterback, that's not everybody says there's two tiers, right? Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, and then those are like 1A and 1B, and then everybody else is like C or D. I just don't feel that. I don't feel that. I feel Jaxon Dart, Riley Leonard. I think, even a Curtis Rourke. Um, I think McCord, what's Kyle, whatever the fucking McCord's name out of Syracuse. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that if you're going to let them sit for a year anyways, could have the same ending result, with the same ceiling as a Cam Ward and a Shador. And for that, if you have a guy that you can get in the third, in the fourth, or even in, second, third, or fourth, that can end up having the same value, and you could use that first round pick to get, more another value pick of need, like a running back or an offensive line or shit, even defensive line or a corner. I mean, you have to go with that, right? But the best scenario, and that I've been saying all year long is, and shit, and even the year before, is the smartest thing to do if you can is to draft take your pick in the first round and then try to move back up into the first round, because the best, top quality guys you can get is the fastest way to turn your team around. We've seen that from the Commanders. We've seen that from the Houston Texans. We've seen that with all these teams this year. So to me, that's the way I'm going. If you draft Shador, yeah, impact player, dude. Definitely best player available. Best player available. Um, what's to say TB wants Shador over Cam just because he works Shador in his favor is Dion. I mean, we don't know, right? It does. It seems like Dion's being, very quiet. I mean, not Dion. Tom Brady, TB12, whatever you want to call him. I call him, Tom Davis. Is He's being very quiet, and we've heard him talk about Shador. We've heard him praise Shador, but we've also heard him talk very highly of some other quarterbacks. So we don't know. We don't know what he's thinking, where he's going. Rebel Raider in the building. What's good, my guy? My doppelganger, the reverse name. Uh, we will be getting a familiar quarterback. Like who? Justin Fields? Look, I'm not mad at Russell Wilson, bro. I think if you can bring in a Russell Wilson and draft, you know, draft anybody at that point. If you bring in Wilson and you bring in I wouldn't be mad at drafting Shador. I have a big problem with him sitting for a year, being drafted in the first round. But if that's the way they have to go, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I guess I'd have to learn to live with it. But if you can get Russell Wilson on a cheap deal to come in here and be a bridge quarterback for a guy like a Milrow, if somebody sees what I don't and sees potential in his development, I wouldn't be mad at that either. Would you rather get Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, or Justin Fields? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. That's a damn good question. Arnie always got the good questions, man. Keeping me on my toes. Um, Geno Smith really hasn't done anything for me to be impressed about. Like, he's never had really great numbers, so I'm just gonna X him right off the list. Um, Russell Wilson, you'd have to be number one just because he's a Super Bowl champion. He should be a two-time Super Bowl champion. They made the wrong call at the goal line. When you had beast mode, you could have just walked into the end zone. Tom Brady would be one Super Bowl champion ring less. I'd be one happier content creator or Raider fan. Um, you have to say Russell Wilson, but you know, I wanted Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. I was one of those content creators that started the whole bring in Justin Fields, and a lot of people did the same shit like they always do. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're crazy. Well, that crazy dude that didn't know what he was talking about watched Justin Fields go to a team over there for 100 for 1.4 mil and take his team that didn't have near the weapons. Now they had a better running game, but didn't have near the weapons the Raiders did with at the time Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, Brock Bauer. Bro, Devontae would have never left. This team would have made the playoffs, and they would probably be playing football right now. I would almost guarantee it if they would have went and got Russell Wilson last year. Because the reason the Steelers lost in the playoffs is because they couldn't put up points. Now they had a good run game, but they had one receiver. They had no tight end. We had two. They couldn't run 12 personnel. We could have ran 12 personnel all day. They had a problem running play action and RPO reads. We could have ran that shit all day long with the offensive line, with JPJ playing fucking center. Come on, bro. This team would have been way, way different with Russell Wilson and a Justin Fields. It wouldn't have worked with Justin Fields and the Getsy system. I get that, but they should have never went with Getsy. I would have much rather went with any other offensive coordinator and brought in Justin Fields than to go with Getsy and not have Justin Fields, if you know what I mean. I mean, come on, bro. Another just a value you can't pass up. A high school, dude, a junior high kid could see the value in a quarterback like a Russell Wilson. I mean, like a Justin Fields, the value he has just for the plays he can make, the athletic ability, a sixth round pick. All they wanted was a sixth round pick with the potential to be a fourth round pick if he played too many games. And the Steelers had the luxury and the option to say, all right, we don't have to play him in these games. We'll just put in Russell Wilson and we'll still only have to pay a sixth round pick for a guy that could be still a starting franchise quarterback. And no, he doesn't make the best throws. Yes, against the Raider game, he had a couple of passes that should have been intercepted. But again, you get the right quarterback coach, the right system around Justin Fields. He doesn't have to throw for 300 yards a game, right? Look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they are in the playoffs. He doesn't throw for, I think he averages 135 a game this season. He's averaging 135 yards a game. Y'all said we couldn't win with Aiden O'Connell. These motherfuckers is winning with Saquon Barkley and a quarterback that throws for 135 yards a game. You got two of the best receivers in Philadelphia. They're not even used. They're not even used. So, I mean, dude, people's logic sometimes is wild. So, yeah, Justin Fields would have been great. The combine is going to be huge for Dart. I also like Roke from Indiana. He played with the torn ACL at the end of the season. That's what I'm talking about. These kids are beasts, bro. They have all the heart in the world. DC coming back, that could happen, bro. It definitely could happen. Um, quarterbacks who are quarterbacks who we hired. OC. Curious to see who we hire and lead the offense. I guarantee Pete Carroll will hire his son Nate in some capacity, 100%. And his other son, like we talked about, Brennan also has a job with the Washington Huskies, and I'm sure I'm sure they would let him leave to go coach with his dad and wouldn't try to hold him back, if that's what he wanted to do. Trade up for Sanders, bro. You're high. Uh, left tackle at LSU, Campbell. Yeah, damn, I'm that far behind in this chat. Holy shit. Furpo was good, my guy. Damn. Alex Ann, appreciate you. All right, I can't read all these. Holy shit. I didn't even see all you guys in here. I think Dart could be a good player, better than Drake May for sure. That's wild, bro. That is wild. That is probably the hottest take of the night. Like, I'm a big Jaxon Dart fan. Like I said, they beat. Actually, I'm gonna find out when this game was. Cause, hey Siri, when did Ole Miss play the Razorbacks in football? Good lord, that was a beating. All right, November 2nd. So, what are we in January? That was 3 months ago. Yeah, they beat my Hogs 63-31, and that's only because we had two touchdowns and slop time, complete slop time. uh, Jaden Daniels was a generational talent. Commanders were giving up that pick for anything. Oh, I mean, facts. Who is your dark horse in this year's draft that will surprise everyone? Mr. Gonzo wants to know. Um, at what position? At any position, Mr. Gonzo? Mr. Gonzo? Steelers are really struggling last quarter of the season. Yeah, JPJ Center for Dart. Yep. Ernest, my guy, what's good? What's good? JPJ Center for Dart in high school. Yes, that is facts. They do have that connection. I think it's a good move too, Rick. Rick really likes that we got Carroll. Me too, man. I think it's a damn good move. Damn good move. It's gonna bring, even if it's for 3 years, it's gonna bring stability fast in a very short amount of time. Um, and these guys are gonna play for this dude, right? Yeah, my guy with the crazy talk. Drake May has a way better arm, has way better vision than Jaxon Dart. Um, he might even be faster than Jaxon Dart, but I think Jaxon Dart has is better at knowing when to run. I think he has better vision as a back, as a running back, if you know what I mean. So when it comes to making plays with his legs, I think he has better vision than Drake May. But when it comes to reading defenses, throwing the football, throwing guys open, Drake May is him, bro. That dude is nasty, bro. Just nasty. From sixth pick to first pick. From sixth pick to first pick. The first 2 rounds, second rounds. Next post players. Yeah, that's a lot of draft capital. And I don't think we'd have to. We might not have to move up to get Shador, like, or Cam Ward. I mean, if you look at the way this draft's going right now, or way it could go, and the way teams are flopping and changing, like, Dion said his son he won't let play for certain teams. So there's that aspect of Deion Sanders could say my son's not playing there, and teams might be scared to draft him. The Raiders could very well end up with a Shador Sanders. Dart has work to do. Oh yeah, I mean definitely. That's what I'm saying. If I have my pick moving up to take a Shador Sanders or a Cam Ward, are sitting and let Jaxon Dart, a Riley Leonard, even a Jalen Milrow, Kyle McCord, yeah, Curtis Roke. I really like Curtis Roke too. Like that dude's a baller too. You know, to let those guys fall to you and still be able to, not give up draft capital, not swing for the fences, and let those guys sit and still learn the system. To me, is just the best value. Um, if Giants don't pick a quarterback, their fans riot. I mean, I don't believe that because you have Justin Fields who's out there. You know, you have Sam Darnold who's going to be out there. There might be, some guys you could trade for. Um, there's a couple guys sitting. Somebody bought up Joe Burrow's backup Browning earlier. Um, a lot of people are saying a lot of people are out on the Zach Wilson thing, but you know, you have to look where Zach Wilson went, and I thought maybe he'd have a shot in Denver, but obviously he's not good enough to beat out Bo Nix. Or was it the fact that Bo Nix was, so close to Zach Wilson that they decided let's go with the rookie to get him, playtime because it's that close? But I mean, I don't know. Zach Wilson could be another one of those dudes that could end up like a Sam Darnold, end up in the right system, in a Sean McVay system or somewhere for a year, and be that guy again. So it's hard to say with the Giants too. They have a lot of needs, and after watching the Hard Knocks with the Giants, they probably need a quarterback. But I just don't. I don't know if there's a lot of buzz and a lot of talk around the NFL, and a lot of people are totally out on Cam Ward and Shador. But there was a lot of bullshit talk about that last year with Jaden Daniels too. So I don't believe that. Shador is not a bad quarterback. He's just not athletic. Like his, his frame scares the shit out of me. The fact that he's only 6'2", the fact that he's never had to listen to anybody but his father before when it comes to being coached in, upper level football. Um, all that scares me, bro. Guy Tech ain't moving up in this draft. Stick with your pick or move back. Exactly. I mean that, but I mean I wouldn't as a first time GM with a 5-year deal. I'm not swinging for the fences in my first year. However, you have to look at it this way: as a first time GM with only a 5-year deal, knowing that quarterback is the biggest need on this team, and it's obvious because everybody else in the NFL has a first round quarterback. Now, were those first round quarterbacks hits? Probably not. A lot of them, they're trying to still wait to see if they were hits. But most of the winning teams in the playoffs have first round quarterbacks. So, do you swing for the fences in your first year knowing that you only have four, and if you don't get it right this year, and it doesn't start to look right away in the beginning, what you know, then you have a chance to maybe draft another quarterback, but then you look like a dumbass if you move up, swing for the fences on Shador, and he's not it. you, you might not have a 5-year contract. You might be looking for a new job. At DU Live question, what's that mean? Jack Kenna in the building. What are you still doing up this late, Mr. Kenna? Salute to you. Jack Kenna never comes in my lives. Crazy. Um, Burpo in the building. Best player available. Yes. Browns fans will be sad if they don't take a quarterback. I don't know. I don't think Browns fans are going to be sad. I think there might be a lot of those Brown fans that are looking at this draft going, there could be some value in the second or third round with these quarterbacks that a lot of people are overlooking. Um, that's the tough part for spy check Brady. Force the Sanders pick. See, that's what I'm saying. That's you're in a rock and a hard spot either way as the GM and as Tom Brady because you didn't get a quarterback last year. There was 6 taken in the first round. There was 6 taken in the top 10, and pretty much all of those dudes are going to be him in the years to come. We missed on that. And then there's not really that guy in this draft that stands out. Everybody wants to push the Shador Sanders narrative, but if Shador Sanders wasn't Deion Sanders' son, I don't think the Shador Sanders narrative would be pushed as much. I don't think people would be viewing, you know, the season he had against the teams he lost against as being a first round pick, like a first round pick in the top 5. I don't see that. And I don't see it with Cam Ward either. So, um, yeah, they're in a tough situation. You need a quarterback to compete in the AFC West. You have Justin Herbert, you have Bo Nix, and you have some say the best quarterback ever, and Patty Mahomes. So you have to have a quarterback. Aiden O'Connell, only way he could ever compete in this league is if you gave him the best offensive line in the NFL and the best running game, and he didn't have to worry about getting hit. Then maybe we could compete with Aiden O'Connell. But other than that, I just don't see it. So you have to get a quarterback in this draft or next year's draft, and I just don't know, you know, where they see it right now. Hopefully, they see it like me and think if we go get a quarterback, he sits for a year, we still continue to build the team and the draft and free agency, and then we let him start next year, or do we build the team now in the draft, in free agency? Don't waste that pick on a first round quarterback this year that we don't know is a quarterback, and you know take one or move up next year. So there's so many scenarios, and until we get, I've been saying until we get a head coach and a GM, we're not going to know much, but we still don't know much until we get a staff. And once we get that, it's going to be fucking it's gonna be all kinds of mock drafts, all kinds of scenarios. It's gonna be wild. Just different schedule. If I'm right, I was your first guest. I think you. No, you haven't even been on my show, Jack Kenna. You were supposed to come on my show. You were supposed to come on my show. Did you come on my show? I don't remember. I think you were supposed to come on and you didn't. Yeah, yeah, I did do that, but I don't think you ever showed. I think you were supposed to be my first guest, and then when I started doing lives, I don't know what happened. I think you were supposed to come on and never did. But you can still come on anytime, Kenna. Bring me on now. Fuck, man. I'm getting ready to get off here. I've been on 3.5 hours. We did watch part of the draft together. Uh, but hit me up, bro. My email is RaidersRebel at RaidersRebel75 at gmail.com. It's on my site. Or hit me up at RaidersRebel on IG. I don't know if I'm following you, Kenna. I think I'll follow you on IG. But hit me up, bro. I would love to have you on. We can go live tomorrow. Um After the games or some shit. Let me know your schedule. But yeah, I would definitely try to pull you up anytime you're ready, bro. Except right now. It's been 3.5 hours and it's 2:30 in the morning here. So Miro is very shaky as a passer, needs more development. I think Milrow needs more development than Jaxon Dart, than Riley Leonard, then Curtis Rourke, then all those dudes. I would take Will Howard over Jalen Milrow any day of the week, bro. Any day of the week. Any day. I would take Riley Leonard. I would take Jackson Dart. I would take Curtis Rourke. I would take all of those guys. Why? Because they can do the same thing he can do on the ground. No, they don't have 4.3 speed, but they're just as athletic and they have a way better, way better touch, way better pocket presence, a way better internal clock, like that, just way better all around quarterback. I think Milrow is a way better running back. Now, if he sits for 2 years and develops under, a great quarterback coach and a great offensive system, he could, one day be the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. He could be a Lamar Jackson. He has a stronger arm. I just don't see him being able to, with all those muscles, develop touch. Touch is something you either have or you don't. Patrick Mahomes with those sidearm passes, throwing underhand, that's something that he doesn't practice. It's just an ability that he has that I think just comes off out of nowhere. And he's like, shit, I'm going to try this or I'm going to do this just because he's athletic enough and he can do that shit. So, um, that's my opinion on Milrow. Like, I think the kid has potential, but I think with him only being in the NFL 2 years, I really wish he would have stayed in college one more year. He had one more year of eligibility. He should have took it. He should have stayed at Alabama and learned. I think he definitely could use all the snaps he could get. Um, Will Howard to be a rise in the pre-draft process. Yeah, Will Howard's going to move up there. Riley Leonard is going to move up there, and you know, by the time it's all said and done, we could have 4 or 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. That people, saying there's only one or two. Um, yeah. Excuse me, Jesus. The combine changes a lot, but it doesn't change everything. It's mostly just skills for a quarterback. I don't think it really shows as much. I think the combine is more for defensive linemen, for offensive linemen, for agility drills, for receivers, for 40 times, for shit like that. I think you don't really learn too much about a quarterback in the combine, except for his 40 time. You do get to see his arm strength a little bit, but you don't really learn too much about his knowledge or, his mental capabilities, which in the NFL, that's huge. Bless you from Jesus. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Time for bed. Yeah, I gotta go to bed too, man. My eyes are watering and shit. But 3 hours and 35 minutes. Damn. So shit, I'm even losing my voice. I'm being on here so long. Um Kenna hit me up Monday. I think Monday I'm gonna do an open mic night. because tomorrow is football, football, and football. So, man, I'll be watching football games. If I go on live tomorrow after the games and anybody wants to pull up, I'll put a live link in tomorrow. I know for as much as I've been doing these lives lately, I don't really invite too many people on. So I probably need to interact more with my peeps and get to know some of y'all. Put some faces to the name. So if any of y'all want to pull up and talk football, just let me know. Pull up in the next live. Drop me an email. Again, my email's on my website. I mean, on my YouTube channel. Everything should be on there at the top. So hit me up. As always, Raiders. Much love, family. Peace. Washington and Buffalo. Yeah, man, these games are going to be absolutely wild. But appreciate y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. I don't know. I might go live maybe before the games to talk more about those two games because it was mostly Raiders and shit tonight. But appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe. Uh, if you're not getting my notifications, turn off the notification bell and then turn it back on because you know, shit, we're almost up to 1,100 followers, and most of the people that come in my lives are new people. So I don't know. Maybe y'all just don't turn the notifications on, but make sure you turn on that bell, tickle that noti bell, so it can be turned on. And I appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Peace. Yeah, fucking sick, bro.